What is good? What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are here tonight to continue our coverage of the Comicsgate documentary, How to Kill a Movement by Mikey No More. Yesterday, we went over the first part of the documentary. That is everything that began with like the origin of Comicsgate. Ethan, quote unquote, hijacking it. I know that's some controversy there. And then, of course, all the drama and stuff surrounding Ethan and some of his rivalries and stuff. And tonight we're going to dive into the biggest rivalry of late, anyways. And that is, of course, his rivalry with Eric July and the Rippaverse. But first of all, let me introduce my guest, Andrew Rowland of XP Comics. Go check him out over at xpcomics.com. I'll post a link to that in the chat here in just a sec. Andrew, introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Andrew Rowland. I'm the creator of King of Justice, a truly independent creator. I'm not Comicsgate. I'm not Rippaverse. I'm not Iron Age. I am truly independent.
So there you go. Go check out his stuff. It's good stuff. And tonight we're going to delve into I don't know if you would necessarily call this good stuff. The documentary is really, really good for the most part. Excuse me. This is going to be the next part of this documentary is where we're going to see some disagreements with some of his statements. And, to be fair, like there's been some disagreements with some of the stuff he stated before. But for the most part, I think it's been up to this point pretty lore accurate. Now, that being said, if you guys want to see us covering the first 8 chapters of this documentary, we did that last night. Go check that out. In fact, probably be a good idea to go ahead and post that in the chat now that I'm thinking about it. Do that right now. Let me pull up the link. And bada bing, bada boom. All right, so go check out the first part of our coverage of this documentary. That's linked in the chat as well. But wait until we're done. Wait until we're done with this one. All right, wait till we're done with this one. Tonight is really going to be focusing on the clash between Ethan and Eric July and how that has devolved into an utter total shitfest, that a flood of feces, a flood of dookie that has consumed both Eric's warehouse and wherever the fuck Ethan Van Sciver lives. I don't know, his pie factory. I don't know. Well, anyways, let's delve into this. Here we go. Chapter 9. Starting a little bit before, but yeah, here we go. Chapter 9. This is where we get into the Rippaverse situation. And look, I did not pause on that intentionally. I know that's kind of a fucked up face. I was not intending to pause on that intentionally, but yeah, it is what it is. So here we go.
In particular, who not only got his books out on time, he got this arcane art of punctual delivery down to a science and took over the whole indie comic game just like everyone thought Comicsgate was going to. Eric July, also known as Young Ripper 59, is a libertarian / former track star / rapper / metal band lead vocalist / anti-SJW / talking head pundit for The Blaze / geek culture enthusiast. With his latest career ambition revolving...
So what?
Like, I don't think he's a pop culture enthusiast. That would imply that he has like some sort of expertise.
Well, I think when you look at some of his videos in the past, especially when it came to like, I remember like him criticizing like Endgame and Infinity War, and he was like talking about all the things that it can include. I'm just like, dude, these movies are an adaptation. And he was talking about like the differences between the comics and the movies and how the movies were inaccurate to the comics. And again, it's an adaptation. Do you know how long the Infinity Wars storyline is in the comics? You couldn't adapt the entire thing page by page, panel by panel into a movie. That's crazy. Yeah. That's crazy. So if you go back and you look at like some of his early videos where he's talking about like comic book lore, when he's talking about translating some of this stuff into into the movies and stuff, it does come off as very, I want to say, naive, I guess, but also just very surface level. As far as like, some of the stuff that he knows about the comic book stories and stuff.
Yeah.
Like there's people out there that have, and look, I'm not going to sit here and say that I that I have like this extensive comic book knowledge, this extensive comic book lore, or like I would say this. I would say that I have a. Yo, you giving your mic a blowjob? Yo, Andrew, you all right?
Yeah, like I almost dropped my microphone.
It sounded like you were giving it a blowjob. So anyways, like I would say, like, as far as like when it comes to my understanding of comics and the storylines and stuff, like I would say that I have a greater knowledge than the average person. I would say that I have a greater knowledge than the average Marvel moviegoer. But am I going to sit here and say that I'm some kind of profound expert on all things comics? No, and I would never claim that. Eric July has claimed that, and it's obvious that's not the case, though.
Yeah.
In fact, I would even say that Ethan, look, as much as I've criticized Ethan Van Sciver in the last stream, I will say this. I think Ethan has a greater understanding of comic book storylines, characters, universe, and lore compared to Eric July by leaps and bounds. I would say that's the case. You can look at his Blackest Night, his work on Blackest Night, just to see that. I mean, it's pretty obvious. And then of course there's people like Linkara. You have like Comicstorian. There's just a lot of people. Valiant Comics. There's just a lot of people online that I would say are way more in tune with comic books than Eric July, but he's not as big of an expert as he claims. Anyways, let's continue.
Around one of his oldest loves, American comics. He'd even make a podcast for it in 2019 called For Canon's Sake, where he would specifically offer commentary on comic books, the industry, and how SJWs were destroying classic heroes like
Yeah, like, and his podcast was also had like a lot of like just straight up political talk, and not just about the comic book industry and what's wrong with it.
Yeah. Which, I mean, just about every channel these days has got some kind of political talk going on. So, but no, we've all figured out, especially from some of the things when it comes to the Riley situation. And I'm not necessarily siding with Riley on all this either. I think Riley's taken things too far. But one thing he did expose is that Eric July is not this anarcho-capitalist. He's not this libertarian champion. Like, he doesn't believe all that stuff. It's just a grift. It was basically a grift to trick dumb, naive idiots into giving him money. And that's it. But let's continue.
ISIS did ancient artifacts. As Eric's following grew, he started brushing shoulders with other influencers from geek culture communities, the Fandom Menace, Geeks and Gamers, and of course, Comicsgate. All this fraternizing wasn't just for networking or making content either. Rippa was gathering data, stacking up his research while he worked on a project that would shake the whole YouTube comic creator game up. Like early CG, young Rippa understood that the quickest way to change the culture was to become the culture. So he decided he would throw his taxationist Steph hat into the ring and announce his own comic on July 11th, 2022. Awesome. But wait, he wasn't just announcing a single comic. No, this was the beginning to an entire comic universe. This public road hating ass nigga Eric July.
You fucking level 1 rookie bitch ass commentators on Twitter. You not fooling a libertarian by bringing up the bitch ass roads.
Came out here more ambitious than any other indie comic YouTuber yet. But all that ambition?
That is like, I think that is probably the clip that is like the most iconic, infamous, let's say infamous clip of Eric July. For the you ain't fooling an anarcho-capitalist libertarian by bringing up them bitch ass roads. It's like, am I supposed to turn to Elon Musk to build my roads? The dude can't even build a car without it catching on fire.
Yeah.
If Elon Musk built a road, it would catch on fire.
Yeah.
He would literally finish the road, stand there and be like, ain't it beautiful? And then out of nowhere, it would just catch on fire.
Yeah.
early for once. Fuck you, failure. I love you, but fuck you. Fuck you, but I love you. I was born early. Technically, I was by a couple of days, but
On my side, said that time was relative, right? So maybe so every time we're late, maybe you guys are early.
exactly. Time is relative. Space is bendable. The
Warp,
universe
time, and
is
space is bendable.
the universe is a weird ass place. All right. So you think it's all going in a straight line. What you don't realize is actually it's a texture. Fuck. What's that thing called? The texahedron or something like that.
I
That
don't
really
know.
that really complicated shape. That's what it is. That's what it all is. All right. It goes in loops and circles and squares and triangles and then back again.
Yeah.
It's almost as messy as Eric July's beard.
Was met with pre-orders out the ass. Eric July had never published a comic in his life, and he still ended up doing over $1 million in sales. It would go beyond, surpassing even the 1.2 million Cyberfraud 2 Ret Planet earned. Within only 4 days, Isom would earn $1.7 million. And this ain't that big of a deal, really. I mean, yeah, he made a lot of money off one comic, but a lot of dudes we've talked about so far have done that. Eric doing this with zero experience in the creation of or selling of comics is impressive, but it's still just one of several indie comic YouTuber success stories. At least that's what it should have been. But Eric July's success attracted some envious ass motherfuckers. Some were from the industry, some were SJWs who saw Rippa as no different than Comicsgate, but the worst guys who came gunning for Eric July's neck were 2 LA degenerate podcasters in their autistic fan base, whose trolling campaigns against Eric for the next...
Okay, before we delve into the shitstorm that is Dick Masterson and Vito, and we'll get to that. Let me make this absolutely clear, because I have to reiterate this point just about every time that I talk about Eric July. No one is criticizing the man for his initial financial success. The dude made over $3 million on his first comic book. For an independent comic book creator, that's damn impressive.
Yeah.
That's really impressive. Now, the thing is, no one was criticizing him for that when the book came out. People were criticizing the book because of the story, because of the low quality art. That's what people were criticizing him for. Because of the writing. The book literally starts out 2 weeks earlier. 2 weeks earlier from what? From what? There's no... Let me... Like, when you start out the Yu-Gi-Oh! Series, all right? You have the whole thing about the Pharaoh being sealed in the Millennium Puzzle, all that stuff. And then it says 5,000 years later.
Mm-hmm.
All right? You have an established time before you establish the time period as ancient Egypt. This event happened 5,000 years later. We're in the modern day. All right. Rippaverse, the Isom starts off 2 weeks earlier. From what? You've not established a single damn thing. So and I know people are like, well, why are you harping on that? Because it's emblematic of the entire problem with the writing when it comes to the Rippaverse. And that is, it's incoherent jarble.
Mm-hmm.
It makes no sense.
And before, and like even before, and when he was campaigning, and hyping up the book, we knew absolutely nothing about the book. Like, he would hardly talk about, like what the story is, and then when it actually came out, and people read the story, most of them, felt like they got scammed. Because like if they knew like how the story was, I don't think he would have made $3 million.
Right. Well, I mean, look, there's a lot of things that come out and they're successful financially, but then they end up getting a sequel and then they're not as good. And again, like when it comes to the finances, like Eric July, his initial success with Isom #1, no, I will never, ever criticize that. That was absolutely fucking amazing. The problem that I've criticized when it comes to his finances is specifically him buying this warehouse, him hiring too many employees, and Chris Bacon has talked about this. and that is that in the long term, Eric July is going to lose money.
Yeah.
He is setting himself up for a collapse. That is obvious. Now, again, like, how long is it going to take? I don't know. But if you look at everything he's doing, it's not very smart from a financial standpoint. And that has been consistent. That we have consistently pointed that out time and time again. It's not about like people always say, oh, well, this comic book, its campaign made this much money, that much money. It's like, yeah, but how much is he losing every month? I mean, there is talk that just on overhead and paying his employees alone, he's spending $300,000 a month.
Yeah.
Guys, think about that. $300,000 a month. And your comic books are making $1 million with every campaign. What you have to keep in mind is you're spending over $1 million every year just to keep your company up. And it's not necessary.
Yeah.
Everything that Eric July is doing, he could do with a much smaller, much cheaper operation. But
yeah,
he's because he wants to moonwalk on the graves of Marvel and DC. He's trying to make himself bigger than what he actually is when it's just not necessary.
Yeah.
So again, people don't seem to be able to differentiate between the success of the campaigns and the actual financial the seeds of financial issues that are being planted in that business. It's short-term financial success versus long-term financial issues, and that's what people don't seem to be able to understand. Failure says it's called gatekeeping storytelling. Rippaverse has perfected it. Rippaverse should have stayed a small group of creators to save money. It costs to make everything. Yeah, like everything Eric July is doing, he does not need a freaking warehouse to do all this stuff. It's insane, bro. He doesn't need to hire this many people, but he has to give off the image of a big business in order to stoke his own ego, to prove himself to the mainstream. And this is something that independent creators have got to stop doing. Every single time somebody goes indie, they always try to get big. They always try to like have all this expensive stuff, the best cameras, the best microphones, these huge buildings. And it's like, why are you so desperate to get the love of the mainstream?
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. They just want the mainstream to like them.
Yeah.
It's like you constantly berate on the mainstream. You talk about how much you hate the mainstream, and then you try and get them to like you. It seems a bit schizophrenic to me.
Yeah.
I mean, it really does. It really does. So, and that's why Eric is making his whole business bigger than what it needs to be. It's bloated. It's because, please, DC, please, Marvel, pay attention to me. Please
notice me, senpai.
Notice me, senpai, please. And it's so fucking pathetic. They don't care about you, Eric. They're never going to care about you. All right? Make your comics. Get some moderate financial success. Don't spend a shit ton on employees and overhead.
Yep.
And you'll be fine. All right? You could do fine. But you won't do that. You won't do that because of your freaking ego.
Yep. That $3 million like boosted his ego so fast.
Yeah.
That he probably started to think, every book that I come out, from this point is gonna make about $3 million. Which that wasn't the case.
Right. Icarus flew too close to the sun. Just keep that in mind.
Yep.
2 years would range from amusingly annoying to openly malicious A-logging. I'll be straight up with you guys. There is no way for me to fit all this Dick Masterson lore into this video. I already had to trim a lot of fat when talking about Comicsgate proper. This motherfucker? Nah, I ain't got time for that. Which is fine, because Dick's gonna be splitting the spotlight here with his partner, Vito Gesualdi. Vito is Dick's co-host on their podcast, The Biggest Problem in the Universe, a continuation of a podcast Dick originally co-hosted with a guy called Maddox. Again, we got a lot to get through here, so I'm gonna be abridging a lot of this dickhead lore. Oh, dickhead is what Dick Masterson fans call themselves? I wasn't insulting Vito just now. Anyway, Vito Gesualdi is an obese, talentless clout chaser. There's also a lot of talk of him being a pedophile. Now, I'm not calling Vito a pedo just for making a few diddler jokes. I will say, if you run with a bit about being a pedophile, and you keep confessing for your love of cuties, and you go on streams to argue in defense of non-offending pedophiles and maps, and when talking about pedophiles you accidentally slip up and say we, which was totally just the royal we and not a Freudian slip, you can't blame people for going,
that's not proof. It's still debatable, but it's a good piece of evidence.
I'm just saying, bro, if I keep making jokes about beating my girl, I can't get upset when people start checking her for bruises when we go out together. But nah, it is actually impossible to definitively prove that Vito Gesualdi is a pedophile. Proving that he's an obese, talentless clout chaser, though? Oh, that's easy. See, Vito isn't just failed LA comedian number 87,000, whose greatest accomplishments in the over a decade since he moved to LA being branding himself as an ironic pedophile as a joke and becoming the co-host and butt monkey to Dick Masterson. No, he's also an aspiring comic creator, because who fucking isn't at this point? Despite his own book not even being launched yet, Vito was real bothered about the fact that Eric had managed to make so much money, not because of any talent he had as writer, but solely because he was pandering to a big anti-woke audience.
What the heck? You're fighting with Eric July all the time? That's racist, Vito. You're racist. You can't fight with a black man. Apologize right now and give us reparations.
I'm not fighting with Eric July. I love Eric July. He's a great creator.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, Eric July put out this comic book that has...
Very successful, multi-millions.
Yeah, a lot of people bought into the idea that, oh, if I buy a comic, I can own the libs, and unfortunately ended up with one of the worst superhero comics that's ever been published. I really feel bad for the people who have fallen for his grift.
Oh, come on, Vito. Grift, what are you trying to do? You're on YouTube trying to make money?
Bad book.
No, but I mean, listen.
It's a bad book.
This explanation is bullshit. Vito was just jealous as hell of Eric. Like, that's literally all it was. Tons of people before Eric July, both in and out of Comicsgate, made money selling their books to anti-woke crowds. You really think the streets were starving for not Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or not G.I. Joe? Or were they fans of Ethan Van Sciver and Richard C. Meyer and wanted to support their boys and stick it to the SJWs?
Well, the way I look at it is like, you're buying into a brand. So it's not like people care about the comics, because all these comics are crap.
Yeah.
You're buying into I'm a Comicsgate guy, and I'm buying a Comicsgate comic. So it's not even really the comic that you like. That's why I don't understand some people that get upset. It's like, you're not buying the comic.
Vito was just bitter that this retarded libertarian black dude who wasn't an actual writer like him became a millionaire overnight. It was pure envy, insult, and would start a mostly one-sided feud between young Rippa and the dickheads. I want you to keep in mind as we go forward that everything I'm about to tell you only happened because Vito Gesualdi was jealous of a successful black man. Vito was going to stay the course with his smarmy, passive-aggressive tactics. These tactics would result in his and Eric's first direct interaction on Eric's podcast For Canon's Sake in August of 2022. But what you have to understand about Vito is, despite being a comedic writer, he lacks a lot of originality and creativity. This plan of Vito's to get on Eric's podcast and subtly troll him about his mid-comic while plugging his own podcasting comic was an idea that Vito copied from his co-host Dick, who years ago managed to troll his way onto the Dr. Phil show. Also, he could shill his book, Why Men Are Better Than Women, on daytime television. Unfortunately for Vito, young Rippa, who was a veteran of the Southern rap game, knew a clout goblin when he heard one. So he was like,
stupid, I'm not gonna let you get the chance.
And thwarted this spaghetti meatball-shaped Italian by muting him every time he tried to shill.
I think it's
Well,
not.
I'll say this. Sorry, yeah, real quick, just I'm driving, so if I cut in and out, I'm sorry. I'm actually on the way to do my own podcast. I guess what I want to say is,
So if there's something that you want to do, or you think that you should, that this is a way that it should be done, I encourage you to go ahead and do that. But like,
well, that is, I'm glad you bring that up because that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm currently working on a comic book called You Can View as book with a great story.
I think that's kind of dickish.
Quagmire that has been driven into the ground.
Sorry, pimp. No free advertising on this platform.
All right, God bless Eric. I look forward to fighting with you on Twitter some more.
that won't happen. But yeah, peace out. As a creative, and this is my advice to you guys that are out there, don't be that guy, right? Because he's coming from a complete point of jealousy. Hey, I have a problem with people being enthusiastic. It seems like they're enthusiastic for this reason as opposed to this reason, which is what they should be if it was like, just as advice to you guys who are fellow creatives. That's an example of how not to be. You don't see someone's success and then get sour because they are seeing that success.
After accurately deducing that Vito was an envious clout chaser, Eric didn't acknowledge him. He didn't tweet at him, didn't mention him in any videos or streams. Vito's plans to drum up attention for his own comic, Super Killer, before launching the campaign for it in May 1st, ultimately came to nothing. Still, the modest $10,000 goal he set for it was crossed in under 3 days, so Vito got his comic funded in the end. Good for him. And this is really where this little arc should have ended. But later that month, on May 20th, on Ricada Law, a woman called Nina Infinity got into a little back and forth with Dick Masterson.
But it is, though. Eric July is building, that's the whole message, is he's selling an alternative economy, right?
Yeah.
But his comic sucks.
That's it? Have you read it?
I haven't read it. No, I'm not. I'm just accepting the premise that if it
No,
does,
I'm asking Dick, have you read the comic book?
I looked at it.
So you didn't read it, but
That's
you
all that
think it
matters.
sucks?
Because everything I've seen about Eric July's comic leads me to believe that it's trash and that it's...
All right, let me pause right there real quick. So here's the thing. The whole let me go ahead and address the whole Vito situation. So number one, the whole Vito is a pedo allegations. Look, Vito made some really stupid comments and jokes. Does that mean that he's a kid diddler? No. I mean, like people I've made some really stupid jokes out there. All right. It's the internet. People are going to fuck up. All right. That's number one. And for the most part, I've got no issue with Vito. Now, Dick Masterson, on the other hand, like I've seen Dick Masterson not just involved with the whole Eric July thing, but just involved with like different situations, the Ricada situation, just different stuff. And the more that I looked into, because I didn't know who the fuck Dick Masterson was until the Eric July controversy started up. But the more that I looked into Dick Masterson's history, I was like, there's some really like mentally fucked up shit going on here. Dick Masterson, I'm just gonna be real with you. Dick Masterson to me comes off as somebody who is mentally stunted when it comes to maturity.
Yeah.
Like he stopped developing in high school, and mentally he's never gotten past that point.
And all his jokes are just something that he took from Adult Swim.
Yeah. Like that's how it comes off. And when you have the mental maturity of a high schooler in the body of a middle-aged man, it's not a very appealing or attractive look, man. I mean, it's just, it really comes off as extremely off-putting. And I'm not like, listen, comedy's comedy. Like you can make crass humor or, whatever, but he takes nothing seriously.
Yeah. Like the comedian hat is always on.
Yeah. And it'd be one thing if that was just like an online personality, but that's how the dude really is. And I might get some shit for this, but I'm just going to say it. There's just certain people that have certain mental issues to where my red flags start to go up. And like, I'm just like, like something about this, it's just like, it's like a spidey sense goes off. And I don't want to be around these people. And Dick Masterson really gives me those type of vibes.
Yeah.
Vito, I think, just said some stupid shit back in the day, wasn't thinking. And, it's just, kind of been a stain on him for a while, rightly or wrongly. But like, he doesn't come off as being like mentally ill to me. Dick Masterson, on the other hand, again, it's just like he's mentally stunted. Like, Dick Masterson comes off as the type of guy that if there was a car crash that happened right in front of him, instead of calling the police or the ambulance or something, instead of calling 911, he would just sit there and laugh about it.
Yeah.
And it's like, bro, this is not the time to be doing that shit. Like,
that crash was gay.
Yeah, and it's just like I don't even know how to talk to somebody like that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I'm talking to a child.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just really fucking creepy.
And to be perfectly honest, that's how, a lot of like quote unquote comedian YouTubers are. That they don't really know what's funny. Like all they think that's funny is something that is like jokes, that they saw from Rick and Morty, and that's all they know.
Yeah,
another
person
mouthing off and cursing, like every other word, and they think it's cool or funny.
Yeah, and another one that I think is like that a lot is Steven Crowder. Like, I've criticized Crowder, and I'm just like, guys, like, why is everybody so enthralled with these people? Like, they're not that fucking intelligent.
Yeah.
And they're very mentally stunted when it comes to their mental maturity and their mental growth.
Yeah.
they've never gone past a certain point in their early life.
Yeah.
And it's just it's very disturbing. Like I can't watch The Biggest Problem in the Universe on a regular basis anymore. I just can't do it because of Dick Masterson. Vito I could watch. Like Vito I'm fine with, but Dick Masterson, it's like nails on a fucking chalkboard.
Yeah. And like a lot of like Comicsgate, commentators, where it's just a bunch of like race jokes.
Yeah.
But they use it's a joke, as a shield.
Yeah.
For that stupid race joke.
Yeah. The German guy with the funny mustache had a few good points. Oh, I'm just kidding, guys.
It's just a joke, man. Why can't you think a joke, man? Like it's like, come on, man.
Yeah, jokes about the funny German guy with the German guy with the funny little mustache are not really funny unless we're making fun of that guy himself.
Yeah.
Like the Hitler rant parodies, like that channel, that's funny shit because it's making fun of Hitler.
Yeah.
But like
Jewish and Jewish jokes don't impress me either.
No, they really don't. Like we're not going full Kanye here. Anyways, let's get back to it. Let's dive into the madness that is Dick Masterson.
It's like not written well.
But you would have to read it. That's what, like, if you
literally no, I could just like listen. Like no one has said anything good about it.
Dick was talking about how Isom was bad despite having not read it because people kept telling him it was bad. And I'm 100% sure that 80% of those people were just Vito. Now Nina, thinking this line of reasoning was retarded, told Dick,
maybe you should read it for yourself.
I've heard good things about it. Do you really want me to read it?
Too. Yes.
Okay, I'll read it and then give you a proper review.
And Dick took her up on that challenge. Let's be crystal clear here. Unlike his co-host, Dick does not care about comics. Despite Vito's constant seething over Eric July's success, young Rippa was not on Dick's radar. He didn't even tweet about Eric or Isom until that summer. And his review of Isom honestly isn't important, so we're just gonna skip that part for two reasons. One, I've gone this whole video without really talking about the quality of any of these comics because it really doesn't matter. Cyberfrog might be a masterpiece worthy of the Louvre, and Isom might be so bad that even a Haitian would need it, but it doesn't matter because this video is about the people making these comics. It's not about comics. You know how like Comicsgate isn't actually about comics. Two, there's not a single timeline where Dax Herrera would have given Isom a truly unbiased review. Not when Vito's successful black men turned me into Sinestro Giswaldi was in his ear yapping to Dick about Eric July's crimes to humanity for a full year before this. Yeah, he made a bunch of extensive notes about Isom 1, but the purpose of reviewing Isom wasn't to provide a serious comic review. It was to poke fun at a bigger content creator for content. And I'm definitely not gonna hate on Dick for shit that I'm guilty of. Eric and Dick would eventually have their first direct interaction on the stream of Yellow Flash, CG'er from the early days of Comicsgate, and they would get a little heated with each other.
Eric, what are you doing, man? Why are you this sensitive to simple criticism? Like even coming from Ethan, who's like an industry veteran, dude. It comes off as so childish and insecure. You know that, right?
I disagree. I think you're dramatizing what's happening, but I'm cool with that. Am I a competitor? Yes. I have 3 principles
Not
with the
Rippaverse.
You're
not. You're hung up with like small details.
See, now I'm hung up. So you mentioned something that you say.
No.
And
I
now I'm getting hung up.
It's just not important. I support that it's a waste of everybody's time. Like he comes in and says,
you get this critical error wrong multiple times. Multiple times. He goes through the internal dialogue of him not being able to fly, and you just tried to let. We need to rewind that.
Fly, you stupid fuck. Flash.
You just went through. No, you just
said he could fly. I said he could fly. Okay, can we all agree that everybody's just buying Eric's book to have it, and they're not actually reading it while he's gone? Can we all?
Hey, I read it. I read it twice.
Ultimately, they seem to come to a somewhat amicable understanding.
Eric, I apologize for calling you a scammer. I don't think you're running a scam. I want the parallel economy, but whatever, to get better. I want your thing. Your thing's already a success. It doesn't matter what I say. It's already a success.
Yeah. So
hold up. Wait a minute. We got the man, the myth, the legend about to come up into this stream. Everybody, you know him, you love him. What's good, Father Hospital?
Yo, my man. Yo, I watched the whole thing, man. You know, all I can say is, man, it was a masterpiece. You know, y'all in the section that I don't agree with. In my opinion, he what they call it, he glazed Eric July too much. He made Eric look like a saint, you know what I mean? And now you finally got a quote unquote black guy here, man. It wasn't because the guy was black. Come on, man. There's so many guys that have just launched a Kickstarter and just made some money when it's not justified from a quality perspective. But man, the exposure for CG, man, I'm gonna tell you, as a guy who's he missed. I was actually involved, man. He missed a sequence I was in. But man, all I can say is, man, CG's been World War V since it started, man. It just started, bro.
You just skipped over World War III and IV. It was that bad.
Bro.
Jesus.
And they're going through a World War VI right now. With the whole like Comicsgate class war.
Oh no, Comicsgate, man. I've spoken to a lot of people, the homie Jasker, and man, it's been one thing this video shows you is, dude, the movement so-called been off since 2017. You can't name one CG convention.
Nope.
You can't name one convention, but we got videos of, was it John Malin who was sneaking into a convention?
Yeah.
And these are the same guys that say we're conservative, we respect the economy and business. You're gonna sneak into a convention at a time there was a lot of schools being Call of Duty, a lot of malls being Call of Duty. We're on YouTube. I'm not gonna, out of respect for what you're, the stream, you're gonna sneak into a convention, risk the livelihoods of independent artists on Artist Alley just because you want some clicks and views, man. Other people. Go on, bro.
Like, wasn't it because they were originally invited to C2E2, but then a bunch of leftists, but then a bunch of leftists snitched on them. It was like, oh, we don't want you anymore.
Oh no, that's not what I heard. A buddy of mine told me is they bought a table. They were invited to buy a table, but they were trying to bulk multiple people in under one table or something. They were. It sounded like they were trying to gyp the people or something. Because I've been to conventions. They got a certain amount of space.
Yeah.
You can't just bring too many people or underpaid.
I've had my own booth at a convention, and I only let two people, me and another person on my table, because I need that second person to stick around at the table, when I need to go use the bathroom, or if I need to go get something to eat, or if I just want to walk around the convention.
Yeah. And dude, the thing is, man, and these guys have touched money we can't fathom. And I'm gonna tell you, I've been to locations where they rent conventions. I think it's usually like 10,000, 25,000. It depends on how big it is. You can rent a school. It depends on how big it is and what you're trying to do. The fact that Comicsgate has been alive since 2017 or 16, and there has not been one convention. It's a failure, man. It's there's a lot of people.
When you say convention, you mean they start their own convention? Christian Comic Arts has their own convention.
Look at that.
But these guys can't. But these guys can't pull it off.
The thing for me is Comicsgate at this point. I go in there, and it's kind of like sometimes when I go into Arby's, where I'm like, do y'all still serve roast beef sandwiches here? And I go into Comicsgate, and it's like, do we still make comics here?
Oh man, I'm gonna say something, man, because I was involved. I've seen the violent aspect of this. I've seen people get doxxed. I've seen false
Matt Barr.
No, I'm not just Matt Barr. I saw Vicky. I saw a Discord get raided just so they could dox somebody and put false accusation cases on people, man. I won't say the name, but they don't deserve the attention anymore. But the Comicsgate thing, man, when you look at it, you're like, man, all these years, and it just became like Mean Girls, but the Mean Boys
It's all
edition.
high school. Yeah, it's all high school. Yeah, it's all high school stuff.
The Mean Boys edition, but worse. People been doxxed, family members been threatened. Yo, they've laughed at the dad. Like, yo, I was once, what was it? You know, I was involved. You know, I think y'all saw the part where they covered Preston Poulter. I was in Preston Poulter's Discord. You know, we were just learning to write comics, you know, building community and all this and that. And next thing you know, rated, doxed, and you know, I was once a leader of one of the most feared groups in the whole comics section of CG was we went by the Preston Knights. Yo, the heat I got, man. You know, we didn't. It is a funny thing about that. When I started the whole thing, yo, we didn't do nothing, man. Next thing I know, they're telling me, yo, man, that they're leading the next war campaign and for Preston, and I'm like, dude, we just got together and we're just having fun and joking around with something, man. It's my thing. I look at CG and you're like, man, CG's like Old Yeller, you know, CG's Old Yeller with the rabies but instead of putting that dog down, you're like, there's still hope.
No, Ma. No, Ma. It's my Comicsgate. I'll do it. But yeah, like I just keep seeing this happening, you know, and I just want to tell everybody, you know, guys, you know, maybe well, like I see on Twitter, you know, like with the Vickyverse, you know,
well, not to interrupt you. Now you said the name. I was one of the people that led a raid docs. I saw it live in person, man. She led a whole raid.
Yeah,
then you know, docs.
And I'm not saying, you know, like she's the best person ever, but you know what I'm saying. But what I said on Twitter was, you know, maybe it's time for an indie comics, you know, version of MGTOW.
Yo, what's up, Mish? We got. I haven't seen this person in the chat before. What's up, Mish?
Hey,
yo, have y'all seen this feature on people's streams? They've got this thing in the chat. If you're monetized, called goals, and like people can send you a certain amount of super chats, and you can like reward them with certain goals. Listen, I'll just be honest with you. All right, let's see how dedicated my fan base is. Send me $1 million, and I will show you. I will show you the goods on stream. Okay, fuck it. I'll lose my channel, but for $1 million, fuck it.
It'll be worth it.
Jesker becoming a stripper out here.
Yo, Mish Dornish said fine. I'm about to get $1 million just from this.
But yeah, like like I think like every every independent creator like just needs to go their own way. You know, don't join Comicsgate because you know, like you have to play by their rules, and if you don't play, the crowdfund game, then you're never going to be seen.
Well, I mean, the way I look at it, man, it's what's happened with CG. You know, what's your name? Because I can't see your name through the little
Andrew.
box. Well, you know what's happened, Andrew. When I originally created CG, it was after DC let me go. I was rubbing a frog on my shoulders. It's usually my left shoulder because my left shoulder was cold, and when I put a frog on my left shoulder, I feel warm. You know, but you look at CG, and I might get some flack for this. The Camelot thing that happened. Now think about this. This is what Ethan did. I look at it. You did the Camelot thing to raise to get a deck. What is that? Is that a decker? what they call that thing they color they put it on the car. What was it, a skin or something?
Yeah, like
Yeah, it was like
what they call it?
I don't know the exact name for
I
it, but
don't know, but
it was like an advertisement for
yeah, but
Comicsgate.
how does this help the indie guys?
It doesn't.
So instead of a convention, you know, a convention or an event where people of indies can come together and gather, we put Cyber Frog on a NASCAR because frogs have never been that fast. You know what I'm saying? We put a frog on a NASCAR car. How did this help the comic book industry? It didn't. The problem with CG, and I've seen it from the music industry, is that Ethan came from DC, Shane, they come from a big sector. So instead of starting conventions where you could help the younger guys, because the biggest problem the comic book industry has now that it used to not have in the 90s and probably 80s, mid 2000s, was there were resources. Like, you could build yourself up and gradually climb up the ladder. I'm not saying you'll make it to the top, but there were resources after the whole political thing. Oh, Jasker, you're making a comic, but where's the superhero that just flies with his ass out? You know what I'm saying? Where's that superhero? You know what I'm saying? Now there's politics and all this stuff. So that resource is gone. Now, what a lot of people don't get is this benefits all the old guys that were established in the 90s, 80s, 2000s, because you'll never be replaced. There's no support for the younger guys to come up to outdo you, to surpass you. So what do? They gatekeep, they create all this drama, this and that, so you can prevent the guys coming up. And here's the biggest thing. This is where I don't 100% blame. I don't put the blame on EVS and all of them, because what qualifications did they have to lead something? EVS was not editor in chief in DC. He was just an employee.
Yeah.
What did he do that tells you? It's like Jasker, or you Andrew coming in like, yo, I want to be the manager of this bank, and I'm like, yo, Andrew, you have zero experience in managing banks, but I'm Andrew, man. Look at me, look at my eyes, look at the vigor in my one eyebrow. You know what I'm saying? That one eyebrow could lead us to being the greatest banks. This is why I look at the CG situation. Books delivered late, 3 years. Some have been abandoned. You know what I'm saying? What do you expect? Most of these people don't qualify. They don't qualify, man.
Yeah.
Name it. I dare you to name a guy that qualifies.
Well, it's like I said last night. Like, the reason that EVS became the face of Comicsgate is not because he was qualified to lead the movement. It's because he has a charismatic attitude. He's a showman, and people in America, well, specifically in America, they love showmen. That's what they're attracted to. It's the Wizard of Oz effect. All right. It's really just a scared little man behind a curtain, but he puts on a damn good, convincing show.
Well, I've never been behind a curtain, maybe on a lily pad. I've been on a lily pad, but not a curtain. Go on, Jessica.
But it really is kind of the Wizard of Oz effect, is that he's duped an entire group of people into believing like he's the end all be all, the wonderful wizard of comics. And now we're starting to see the man behind the curtain, and it's not pretty. It's not pretty.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, did y'all see? I mean, come on. We all saw the drunk stream. Good God, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
This dude out smoking crack with a couple of homeless lesbians. I mean, what's happening?
Well, man, I think I've been telling people this, and sometimes people think, I'm bragging, but dude, I saw it all coming. I saw the breakdown with Eric. I saw the writing on the wall, man, you know, months in advance. And CG, what happened is I look at the where I give VVS no excuses that dude, you saw Todd McFarlane. If you were just an artist at DC and you got fired, you know, and you know, I know the real reason. A lot of people say it was leftist, this and that. No, a lot of people I spoke to said it was about turning stuff on time. Oh damn.
That would make sense. See,
Damn, the cat is out of the frog is out of the pot. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, dude, if EVS cared, it would have been okay. I'm an artist. Let me hire a guy that used to be in the industry. Let's say, what was my man's name? His name. He used to run Valiant. You know,
I don't remember.
He ran Marvel too. They hated him a lot. He got fired. He was editor in chief. You would have hired former guys that were editors in chiefs, or you would have linked up, let's say Antarctic Press for, I'll just bring them up, or Alterna. You would have said, you guys know how to manage and print stuff. You guys will manage and print stuff in CG.
Was it Jim Shooter?
Yeah, Shooter. Oh man, after watching Jim Shooter's story, I'm like, man, if only the only person that could save this comic book industry and lead is Jim Shooter. What he did with Valiant was amazing. It's just that, you know, Todd McFarlane and them were hypocrites, man. You know what I'm saying? They'd rather work with Batman and Superman that kicked them out, treated them like trash, versus, yo, here's Valiant Comics, another independent company. They want to collaborate with us. Yeah, their art style isn't our style, but it's another set of indie guys, you know. But you know, we saw what happened with that. Books were over 2 years late. Oh man, doesn't that sound like CG? You know, you know what I'm saying? But the thing is, bro, it's just they never hired anybody that, and guys that were qualified. You got Doug TenNapel, who worked in the film industry, animated. You think he would have been positioned to be, yo, Doug, you got more industry type whatever. Let's find people and assemble the team. Instead, it just became a show of worship, man. Worship me. You know, we seen the memes, the sunbeam, and it's a fest. You know, I've seen the Caesar. I was there when he was Caesar. I remember watching that route, man. It's just I assemble all these guys to worship me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And because the Camelot thing's the best situation. You do a Deku for a NASCAR. Why was it only Cyberfrog? Why wasn't it some Shane Davis? If this is all about celebrating a movement, why was only Cyberfrog painted on that car?
Yeah, why does like Cyberfrog get to be the mascot for Comicsgate?
See, this is the problem that I don't think a lot of people that are still associated with Comicsgate today realize. But if EVS falls, because the movement has been so wrapped up in his identity, if he falls, the entire thing is gone.
Yeah.
Well, that you know, that to me, I don't fully agree with that. My thing, I looked at it like this, man. If someone else, if the best move Ethan could do is say, you know what, I've been messing up, guys. You know, this is wearing on my psyche and all that. You know that old traditional crap. I'm not. You know,
he was saying all that yesterday.
It needs new leadership. But EVS had a stream. I remember watching it. And I think I spoke to you about it a while ago, Jasker, where he said, well, you know, as long as I'm here and the four kings are here, that's CG. You know, no one else. And think about it. CG's a bunch of guys 40 to 50 going on 60.
Yeah.
They don't give other people, the young guys, shots. So CG is just gonna live, breathe based on guys 40 to 60 years old. You know what I'm saying? That means it's already dead. I call CG, in my honest opinion, it's a, you know, it's like a dog. What they call it? It's like a dog it's like a man in a coma. He's alive, right? He's alive, right? You know what I'm saying? He's alive, but can you count on a
there's no
man in a
brain
coma?
activity.
Yeah, bro. Well, what you gonna ask a man in a coma to do? Yo, Jasker, I know you're in a coma, but dude, could you help me paint my backyard? You know, you're still alive. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Dude,
Yeah.
CG's as alive as a man in a coma. You know what I'm saying?
CG is basically like just a it's a boys club now. Like it's not it's not really a movement. If Ethan doesn't think you're worthy enough to be in the cool kids table, like you're never gonna make it.
Yeah, I mean, look, man. If I come out with a comic book, let me say this clearly. Let there be no mistake. Let the world know, all right? From my lips to God's ears, okay? Let me make this clear. If I make a comic book, I am not going to publish and get that thing successful because I suck the dick of Ethan Van Sciver.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I guess you are straight. You are.
Last time I checked, I was.
No, the thing is, bro, I look at this CG scenario, and it's not even the biggest thing because it's one thing I saw with CG following it for all these years is it's a literal same reflection of the
old guard.
No, not that, the wokish crowd. It's everything they described about you're catering to a small audience that's loud. That's what CG is. Because if you go to Kickstarter, odds are over 90% aren't saying they're CG. You go to Indiegogo, you'll see a little higher out, but still the majority do not represent that. And
yeah,
what's going on with CGs, they're like, dude, Ethan's a millionaire, man. Most of these guys are net worth over 800,000, and you're sneaking into a convention.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? No one's looking at them. It's like older guys that got money trying to be edgy. I'm going to be sneaking into a convention today, guys. You know, let me make sure I could see what I'm doing. I'm sneaking in a convention right now, guys. They found me. I'm gonna throw some frogs at them. I'm running right now. Oh my god, dude, you're 50. You're nearly 50. You're worth millions. What are you sneaking in a convention for? This is our leader,
bro.
This is a leader.
Literally in that drunk stream, he passed the fuck out at a urinal.
Yeah.
Wow.
He passed the fuck out at a urinal. The stream went on for I don't know how long.
Yep.
Because he was live the entire time he was passed out. His phone was just laying there as he was passed out at a urinal. The dude is damn lucky he didn't accidentally show his I don't know. Do frogs have penises? I don't know.
Well, we call that a tadpole. You know, it's only able to do these type of movements. You know, I remember I tried to infertilize my wife. I told her I'll just hop on your back and throw water on your back and I'll just be riveting until the tadpole awakes in my body. And you know, I have a strange penis. It just crawls into a woman's body and just looks for things. And, you know, my penis could be looking in her body for 5 hours.
Oh my God.
Just swimming in there looking. You know, curiosity killed the cat, not my penis.
Ew.
You said ew.
Ew.
I mean, he really could have. Like, if he had accidentally showed his tadpole off on stream, that would have been it. His channel would have been gone.
Oh,
yep.
I mean, that channel's just an ego boost. It's like, man, and you saw him. I think what's happened to EVS is it's finally catching up, man.
Yeah.
You know, it's finally catching up that you've nuked all these bridges. I mean, you see, I'll give you an example. Doug Tenaple, and I remember I don't know if I spoke to Doug, but I saw Doug on a stream a little here and there, and there's streams, there's audio of EVS wishing that Doug Tenaple dies of cancer.
Ooh,
yeah, just saying, you know what, I can't wait for the day Doug dies of cancer. And you're like, dude, and there's so much, and I think EVS has finally hit him, man. His ego and that narcissism. I think what happens at some point is you either devour your narcissism or it eats you alive. And what's happened to him is I think he's realized that, man, 2017, how many years is that? 2017 till now. What is it?
8?
7 years. 7 years.
7 years, and EVS is he 50? I don't know his age now, but I think EVS has finally realized that, man, you've nuked the bridge. You've Oppenheimered the bridge. Like you've nuked. You don't got to deal with Tim Lin anymore. All the people that could have been successful pieces, which
And you know what's funny? And you know what's funny? Like they became successful without him.
There it is. That was big. Yeah, because some people have kissed some people have kissed the frog legs.
Kiss the frog brain.
It still didn't make any money, not the way they think. I think it's hit EVS that, man, I've spent 7 years, I've had groups follow me, whatever, and now he looks back, the Eric thing. He looks at all these people and realizes that, yo, you're not going to replace that. All these big opportunities. Think about it. You had Doug Tenaple, who knows how to make animated series, and you booted him. Who did games as well. You booted him. You had somebody such as Tim Lin who knows how to produce. I got my issues with Tim Lin here and there, but who knows how to produce his books on time. He's booted all
while having a full-time job.
Huh? Being a millionaire, people ask me, Ethan, what do you do when you wake up? Well, I try to do that stretch where you rub your own shoulder with one of your legs. I spend 3 hours trying to do that. Then like a fly flies near my eye, and I try to react to that. That's how I keep my reflexes sharp. I tell my wife, just release a fly, and I'll just see if I can just catch it with my bare hands, and then I scream. You know what I mean? I think it's finally hit Ethan, because the curse of the internet is, man, we're all guys from the 90s. In the 90s, you're on a TV show, there's seasons, there's rest, there's time to stop. Online, you're running yourself rampant. I've streamed. I remember when I first streamed for 8 hours, my brain was hurting for like 3 days, because, bro, you never get a lot of people watch people streaming are like, oh, this is easy. Dude, you don't do an activity where you got to think and talk for 8 hours straight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It when I first did it, my brain hurt my mind hurt for like, I don't know, 3-4 days. Next thing I know, YouTube deleted it. I once streamed for 12 hours and 50 minutes, man. I got used to it, and you start developing, this stuff. But you look at the Ethan situation, you're like, dude, that's all that's left. All he can do now is stream, because the future is gone. You know what I'm saying? The future is gone. He's nuked too many bridges. Okay, you got the Nick Rekieta thing. Me and the homie Jasker did that stream. We got some heat here and there. But, dude, you went from that you were involved in docs. With EVS, there's no hopping towards the right side of history. It's, okay, you know what? I was involved in doxing. You know what? I'm going to hop into Nick Rekieta, who's involved in, some coke in his kids. With EVS, it's like that deer that's always in the headlights. It's like, you look at the deer, you're like, you motherfucker, cross the fucking road. Why are you just running to another car? Like, across the fucking from doxing the kids and cocaine to now to smoking random pipes with some old whores. I don't know.
Dude, do you know how dangerous that was? What if the thing had been laced with fentanyl?
Yeah.
He could have died.
Yes, but there's a 99% chance that my amphibian body could handle fentanyl. Have you ever seen a tadpole die from fentanyl? Anybody?
Are you telling me that Ethan Van Sciver is one of those poison frogs that when you lick it you get high?
That's right. I've once licked my own body and woke up on the ceiling for 3 hours. But you want to know something? I still live streamed. You know what I mean? It's what's happening with Ethan is just you do the Camelot thing. And think about the Camelot situation. You help Camelot get his dream, whether it was done right or CG's never done a CG crossover, so it ain't surprising that only Cyberfrog was on the NASCAR. But you help Camelot with his dream, then you hop onto Nick Rekieta, who's got over 5 kids, and one of them has been found with a body full of more white than 10 boxes of Frosted Flakes in her body.
Oh, Jesus.
You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you go from Camelot getting his dream? I was just a country boy, watching my pa make moonshine in the backyard, and I always wanted to be a NASCAR driver. To now you're standing up for Nick Rekieta, who's involved with some coke on it, coke and kids. Doesn't that sound like a brand? The best part of waking up is coke and kids. Damn, that brand's taking somebody to jail.
Bro, go
ahead. No, go on, bro.
I mean, like that's the thing. Like when Ethan came out and he defended Nick Rekieta, and I mean, and actually blamed the kids. I was like, nah, man. Like this is ridiculous. Like that was the straw that broke the camel's back. And I on that live stream, I did it in front of everybody. I unsubscribed from him live on stream. Because I'm like, listen, and this is something that people don't understand, but principles have got to come before personalities.
Yeah.
Oh, that was deep. That's a brand, dude. You need to. You got to trademark that.
I got to put that on a shirt, man. I got to put that on a shirt.
Come before personalities. Oh, that's deep. PCP. Oh. Yo, Jasker, that's a shirt, brother.
PBP.
PCP, yeah, PBP, that, go on, man. That's deep, man. Because I think it's just everybody, most people on the comic side. Let's be honest, man. You were outcast. You were them. A lot of dudes were guys that were sitting in the lunch by themselves or playing Yu-Gi-Oh while no one else looked or laughed at them. And now,
story of my life.
What? You come online, bro, and now you see a guy named Ethan you can reach out to. Oh my God, that's a guy who drew Green Lantern, who was a rock star, and we could comment and talk to him. You know what I'm saying? And you get that contact of being able to see your idol. You know what I'm saying? Then that idol, you forget, is like, what's that dude who played the pipe? Was it the pipe and would get the kids to just follow him? What was the name of that book?
Pied Piper.
Yeah, the Pied Piper.
There it is. You get the Pied Piper effect where Ethan plays the flute on stream, and all the people are dancing. Oh my God, he drew the Green Lantern.
Oh my God, he drew the Green Lantern. Oh my God.
Yay! Oh my God.
He drew the Green Lantern, Dad.
He drew the Green Lantern, Dad.
Yeah. Oh, you want my information of where I live? Sure, Uncle Lee. Yay. That's right, kids. Just type your address on the comment section. 879 Denson Lane.
Ethan Van Sciver. Ethan Van Sciver now has a naughty and nice list.
Dude, there's literally audio guy saying, "Well, once you're no longer my customer, I don't care what happens to you," and you doxed him. It's like, dude, it's the amount of trust, and this is why when people say, "Yo, the boomers were dumb," no one is. I'm gonna hurt some people, but no generation has been easily scammed more than millennials and
Beyond.
Gen Xers and Gen Z, where a person offers you, "Look, I'm going to make this book called Rainbow Brute. I'm gonna make it. It's gonna be awesome. You just gotta pay for it. It's not ready yet, but you'll have it." Think about that, dude. The boomers at least would pay for the snake oil, feel it, and say, "Oh my God, it might heal me." The Gen Xer, the millennial, will just pay for something they can't. That it isn't finished. It isn't done. It's just presented as a little photo, and you could have when will it finish, Jasker? Imagination.
Oh man, dude,
Yeah,
it's the people invested money into an idea, and the idea never became a reality. That's the problem. And now, I mean, honestly, if Ethan was smart, what he would do, because right now, like he's on a
That's
quick
hold
decline.
on. Not to interrupt you. Is that if he was smart with all caps or lowercase?
All caps in quotations. Now, if Ethan was smart, before things get too bad, before he hits rock bottom, he would come out with, and I've heard that he's actually announced that next year Rainbow the Brute and Cyberfog 3 are supposed to come out. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. But if he does, if he was smart, he would come out with Cyberfog 3, make it the final issue, have a nice little trilogy, and then just ride off into the fucking sunset.
Well, I would hop. The thing is, there was a video of Ethan saying, "You know what? You didn't pay for the book. You didn't pay for the book. You paid for me to pursue my dreams and to try it out." The thing is this, dude. Ethan is following the same failed path of Todd McFarlane. A lot of people romanticize. I watch all the Image documentaries. They romanticize, "Oh man, Image was on top." Dude, their books were late by 6 months, 8 months. The problem a lot of these established artist faces, dude, we know you can draw. Hire someone to draw the internals, thumbnail it or pencil it, get someone else to finish it, and focus on the cover art and promotion. This is what killed Image Comics. Todd McFarlane went, "Oh, I'm going to draw all of Spawn." Then who's going to promote the company, Todd? People already know you can draw, motherfucker. People already know this. So EVS, it's like, we know you can draw. Just hire. This shows you how against giving new talent opportunities. Why wasn't Cyberfrog? And this is Ethan bragging about, I still get $8,000 from royalties from the Green Lantern and, DC. Dude, you put all this evidence of why people should have no sympathy. You have the money. Just pay new talent to draw the internals. What happened with Eric? You made, the biggest seller was my cover. Then, dude, just do the cover art for Cyberfrog, the character bio art, and pay someone else for the internal. That's it. And finish the damn book. It's done.
And same for Rainbow the Brute is that it's meant to be a parody of Rainbow Bright, but his art style does not fit for a parody comic.
I think. Oh, go on, bro.
I think it would have been better suited, if he hired someone whose art style was a little more cartoony. for that sort of thing.
Dare we say anime?
Maybe.
Are you saying Timlin? Well, Timlin doesn't like me ever since I sent Timlin that video of I literally not remake, but I fixed up the footage of Nagasaki and I sent it to Timlin and I said, that's how much I love you. You know what I'm saying? Dude, he's burned the bridge. It's like, just hire someone. And look, he's spiraling. He's going unhinged. I was talking to a buddy of mine because I've seen so many YouTubers go unhinged and lose their mind. I'm like, man, I don't know if y'all saw that movie with Van Damme. Remember, what was that movie? It was called Target. Oh, man. When they were hunting Van Damme, man. I think it was called High Target something. I think, man, these streamers, man, we need to set up a new TV series where when a streamer is going unhinged, we come with a white van, you know what I'm saying? We unleash them in like the woods and we just bring out some bloodhounds and we hunt them for fun. You know what I mean? They'll face reality. They'll be like, man, I was going unhinged, snapping on a stream, but these guys are hunting me in real life. I'm stressed out. I'm scared. This is what reality is. This is real. Then they could go back to society. It's like, dude, you're smoking pipes, crack, whatever it was with some chicks you don't know. And I doubt it's the first time. Come on, you don't get that comfortable smoking with random strangers, you know what I'm saying? And then you wear all these wigs all the time. You're always wearing bright colors. I wouldn't be surprised if Ethan is still in the 80s. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? It's, Ethan's got to be, when Nick Rekieta got caught, Ethan's like, oh man, he should have hid the sugar where I hide it. I hide the sugar where the kids would never get it. I hide the sugar right under the drawer.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying? He's on something, man. It's just, you look at it and you say, man, this is who we went from Stan Lee to this.
Yep.
Dude, that's depressing.
Yep.
I mean, that
Yo,
like,
Jasker, you said that with so much conviction.
I mean, that's really depressing. I might have to do a line of crack on some Rekieta shit just to feel better. Just that was such a simple statement, but I mean, think about that. We went from Stan Lee to a crack smoking middle-aged man who is just breaking down right in front of us live with two homeless lesbians.
Yep.
Passing out at a urinal. Did Stan Lee ever pass out at a urinal? I don't think so.
I don't think
No.
so. I mean, he did pass out once saying Excelsior too quick. But, it's like you go from Todd McFarlane, Jim Shooter, Stan Lee, Jack Kirby to we get a guy who wears wigs and, you know what I'm saying? There's some other stuff, that documentary, how he spoke. There's some stuff I could say, but it ain't worth saying right now. But it's just, you look at it and you say, man, we got the internet. We got all these tools, bro.
And
they didn't even.
And everybody, we got all these people, like Stan Lee and Jim, and Shooter, like these are people who had class.
Mm.
And
repeat that, brother. Repeat that.
And here comes Ethan Van Sciver, dressing up like a clown.
You said clown.
Yo, can you just imagine if Stan Lee was acting like this?
Oh man.
Give me some crack, true believers.
This is what I left behind. Hi caramba.
My spidey sense is tingling.
Well, Stan, is it tingling in your nose? Is that where the spider sense?
I shoot webs out of my nose. Oh man! All right, let's get back to this documentary.
That's it. I'm sorry I said a bunch of mean shit. You said a bunch of mean shit too, but I don't. That's just my piece. All right.
But the real shit show was just about to start. We had to go over this first. I had to lay this all out for you because there's this narrative the dickhead community has been trying to push that the primary reason Rippa and his community has such a problem with them is because they made fun of Isom. This shit doesn't even make sense because a bunch of people had already done exactly that for the past 8 months. Isom had been out before Dick ever read it. Dick was actually super late to the Isom is mid party. No, Dax, your poo-pooing on Eric's comic is not the reason why he doesn't fuck with you. It was literally everything that happened after that.
Dick ride till I
The
die.
Dick Masterson community isn't very big, but it is very passionate. They really love them some Dick. And they're all insane, obviously. They're fans of Dick Masterson in 2024. Host Sipspiracy. Host making Vito his co-host. They have to be crazy. Now there's this one guy, Riley, who really stands out among the pack. He's Dick's producer, but he's also got a side hustle. Doing piss pornography with his autistic, saggy titty, furry porn drawing girlfriend, Mint Salad. Again, I'm not insulting anyone. Mint Salad literally calls herself Autistic Boobs on Twitter. Aside from being Dick's producer, Riley's also one of Dick's most zealous flying monkeys. A real Dick writer, just down for absolutely anything. And when he saw Dick going at young Rippa, you know he had to jump in and help his big bro break that buck. But regular trolling wasn't going to be enough for the piss porn prince. No, he had to take it up a notch. He created a parody character of young Rippa 59. Brandon.
See that, man? He implies slavery, and to me, the problem, he was doing such a great job, and I could say this, and as a person who grew up in a black community, he got emotional, man. You know what I mean? Towards the end of the documentary, first it was all facts, then come on, man, Eric July blew up to the point where he started downvoting, striking channels. You can't pretend that Dick Masterson's impact, applying humor to him, Dick's impact on him, got Eric shaking, man. It shook Eric's fabric. And to me, as this goes forward, you're gonna see this guy is sensitive, man.
Now,
Go on, man.
Yeah, so like I was gonna say about Riley, like I do not care for this guy. I'm like, I seriously think he's a cuck.
Oh damn!
Damn.
So here's the thing. When Riley first started out, like the stickers, the money, I'm like, okay, you know what? This is harmless. Eric's being a bitch. I get it. And even like the handing out Isom comics in the parking lot when they were at that one restaurant. It's like, you know what? Okay, whatever. But it's just escalated to the point where I'm like, okay, Riley, you need to take a step back. But he won't take a step back, and it's just, I mean, it's. And I said this like when he first got arrested. I was like, okay, you proved your point. Eric's a sensitive bitch. This anarcho-capitalist libertarian thing is bullshit. Otherwise, why is he bringing in the cops? Why is he not just sitting down and talking this out with you? And I'm like, okay, it's time to pull back. But then he doesn't pull back, and it's just escalated. And listen, I don't like Eric July. I do not like Eric July. But let's be real about something. I think that this whole Eric July situation has really affected people like EVS, and I think it's affected people like Riley, and it's kind of made them act crazy. And it's like, guys, if you don't want Eric to win, why are you acting like this? You're causing him to change you. Like, no one should change because of flea-infested beard Eric July.
Shoulder.
Good God, people.
Well, I mean, not to interrupt you, I look at it as, man, they were doing it, and it's just like what you said. Like, I spoke to Riley. To me, I saw what Riley's doing is humor. It's just that what happened is Riley, he got a little too consumed to where he wasn't more tactical. He didn't look at the options Eric has. Eric could call the cops on you, this and that. He left himself open, and then the cops came and so on. And I just think now Riley, after the cops, man. That's one thing. When I saw that video, I'm like, man, black or white, you don't want to deal with the cops, man.
No.
You don't know if you're going home. You know what I'm saying? You don't know if you're gonna walk, past them. And that was dangerous. But it's just the thing with Riley is this is I think where Dick should have stepped up and be like, yo, you gotta just calm it down, slow it down a little. You could still come at them and cook them. It's creating content for you, but you can't just leave yourself open like this, to the police and all that stuff. Because man, that warrant, man, that's that was wild, man. Go on,
Yeah,
Jeff.
Riley's gonna end up. I mean, if Riley doesn't watch it, he's gonna end up in jail. And where is that gonna leave Mint? I mean, that's what, and people are gonna say, he's not going to jail. He's not going to jail. Did y'all forget what country y'all are living in?
I mean, it could. The thing is, it could happen, and you're right. That's where you're like, man. I guess she's working, but the work she's doing, isn't meant doing, popcorn. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, my thing is, I remember when they brought up some guy, one of Eric's trolls, like, this is what Riley does. I'm like, dude, I just follow when he jokes around on the Eric situation. I don't look for his other stuff he's doing. That got nothing to do with me. You know what I'm saying? But my thing is, you brought up something extremely important. What will Mint do if she loses Riley? That's something I didn't even think about. That's you gotta go deeper into that, Jesker. That's big.
Yeah, I mean, look, here's the thing. If Riley goes to jail and Mint is left on her own, because from what I understand, like, her relationship with her family is not the best. She's got no one to turn to. And Riley needs to keep that in mind, is that, this isn't just about him and Eric. I mean, Mint's involved in this as well. So that was one of the points that I brought up when this whole thing happened and he got arrested the first time. I was like, yeah, this needs to stop. Like, this isn't good for Mint. And, but Riley is somebody, like, he does not listen to anybody. He's not going to listen to me. He's not going to listen to anybody that's in contact with him. And he probably wouldn't listen to Mint. Like, he's going to do what he's going to do. And, like, at this point, like, the man has a legit personal burning hatred for Eric July. And I don't know if you can quench the flames of that passion. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, to me, he's I don't say that because of what happened with the veto situation. I just think with Riley's humor, it's just too, it's like a rhino. It's too just going forward, headstrong, ramming towards the person. And what that does is it creates too much problematic opportunity. And then, like you said, with Mint's doing popcorn. You know what I'm saying? And when you do that and all the video and stuff like that, I think she even had a post that November's a problem, because like you were mentioning with the men going their own way thing, is that a lot of men have vowed with the whole November you shouldn't do anything. You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't touch your sprinkler. So you know what I mean?
What are you talking about? Like for me, it's nonstop and November.
Nonstop November. Oh man, that could be a new brand. You know what I'm saying? It'd be like, man, Andrew's the reason I have fully been consumed by my popcorn addiction. But at least I got a brotherhood out of it.
all I'm saying is, if you show up at Thanksgiving dinner looking for a date, you might be a redneck.
I'll say this, that Mint situation, you're right, man. It's that if son happens to him, you know what I'm saying, I don't know if Mint, that's all she does is the popcorn. But I'm like, man, that's gonna leave her in a bad situation when you can't return home. And you might not even be able to return to cousins and all that. Then you gotta tell them you're doing basically OnlyFans. You know what I'm saying? You got little nieces and all that. They won't want you around them.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
so it's a situation where he goes to the bird cage. You know, he goes to jail, man. It's you know, who knows what's gonna happen to her. You know, that, like, I don't know if y'all seen it. I've seen some people that are homeless where I'm like, dude, he's not a drug addict. He's not, you know, a drug addict or homeless. He's just mentally, you know, slow. He's mentally, what they call that word? Not this. Is it disabled?
Autistic.
Yeah, I've seen some people where you're like, dude, their parents couldn't take care of them anymore, and their parents might have passed away, had nothing, and now is just a mentally ill or autistic person in the streets. And you're like, man, you wish you could do something, but man, you can't. You know what I'm saying? And then there's locations to get help for them, but you're like, man, this is sad, man. You know, that's when I find myself like, man, it's sad. You see an autistic guy in the streets or mentally ill, slow, you know, the R word, you know what I'm saying? Distant from intelligence, where he can't take care of himself. And you're like, man, he's not a drug addict. He's just, and you got to look at the Mint situation as like, who's managing the finances, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Who's handling the light bill and everything like that? And, you know, you might, you know, even if you take Eric down, you know how the law works. You might end up going to jail and still being Eric at the same time. Where
plus also the trial, you know, like just the trial itself is going to cost money. You know, like to pay for the lawyer.
And especially if it ain't like a 5-cent lawyer, you know. You know what I mean? It's just, to me, I look at it as, man, you know, even after it shows you that Riley was doing this, I spoke to him, you know what I mean? He was a cool dude when we spoke. I look at it after that duct tape thing, man, you should have checked the whole warrant system and all that. You know what I mean? Because you don't know how that state operates. Especially, he was out of state. He wasn't from Texas or nothing, you know. And to me, Texas, man, that ain't a place I would go play around. You know, I was in Texas, and man, let's just say in that state, you don't need to pay for DLC to get something, you know, to be armed. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so.
But like, he had a warrant in Texas or in California.
No, Eric July had a warrant on Riley in Texas.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because like you would have to go to a judge.
That's why Riley got arrested when he showed up at that restaurant.
Okay.
Because they were originally going to let him go because he was just out there handing out ISOM comics. And then the cop pulled up his identification, you know, got his ID and then pulled up his information, found out there was a warrant out on him.
So like the warrant was like right after the whole like
the warehouse situation.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the thing that caused Eric to get the warrant.
Okay.
All right, let's continue.
And himself, Young Clipper 69. He only had one mission, becoming Eric July's ultimate nightmare, his biggest menace, his greatest op. But Riley ran into a snag as early as August 2023 because Eric's soft, fake libertarian punk ass, unable to handle the fire that Young Clipper was spitting, nuked Riley's Twitter from orbit and false-struck his parody store on Teespring down. That's right.
That's right! That's right! That's right!
Eric July is a flaming flaggant. But this flaggatry would be his undoing because the way the DMCA process works, Eric ended up accidentally doxing his own business address to Riley. Young Clipper wasn't going to let himself get punked. He was going to get at them cheeks. Now, some of you might be wondering, Mikey, how could Eric DMCA Riley's Teespring store or his Twitter? How could he DMCA Riley for parody at all? Shouldn't everyone who does parodies be getting struck down all the time then? Your confusion is understandable and easily answerable. None of this happened. It's all a lie. At least the way it was told by Dick and his Dick writers was a lie. Riley's Twitter going down had nothing to do with Eric July. It went down because he broke Twitter's terms of service. Ripper also wasn't the one who took down Riley's Teespring store. store. Teespring took down Riley's Teespring store after it was brought to their attention that Riley was infringing the shit out of their Rippaverse trademark, which Teespring doesn't allow, so they shut it down. Something to keep in mind is that there were a few people who actually did get DMCA'd by Rippaverse Publishing, and those people could always show receipts, including the business address someone posted on Twitter, which is how Riley actually got it. Despite him and Mint Salad and Dick and Vito and all the rest of their tribe claiming that Eric was responsible for taking Riley out and giving out his business address to him, no receipts that any of that shit actually happened has been shared. But hey, whatever. Who cares about receipts? Yugoslavia collapsed because a freaky nigga in Serbia lied about Albanians breaking a bottle off in his ass, when it was really just a solo prostrate stimulation session gone awry. A little lie can go a long way, and this lie would serve as the catalyst for the dickhead community to galvanize against Eric July in earnest. The first major homosexual operation by Dick and his community would involve a children's charity, Comic Books for Kids. Dick had learned that Eric had an offer on his website that allowed fans to purchase an ISOM comic as a discounted price that would then be donated to this organization. Dick, like the massive Karen he is, contacted this charity because Eric July was apparently committing charity fraud.
Here, like if you have a comic book, right?
Sure.
Super Killer.
Super Killer.
So you can get a charity copy for Super Killer at $12.50 a cost,
Yeah.
and then I'm going to give this to a comic book, a guy that gives comic books to kids with cancer.
Sick kids.
Quick,
Sick
quick,
kids with
pause
cancer.
this
Get a comic book,
quick.
you get $12.50.
Yeah, and then
Not to interrupt, I ain't gonna say much, but notice he did not mention how, Eric was gonna use some of the funds and to pay off what he wasn't paying fully. You know what I'm saying? To cover cost. He didn't explain the other half. He cut the fact that Eric said, if you donate, it's gonna cover my full cost, or I'm doing it at a loss or something like that. He forgot to mention this part. You start seeing that with Eric, he starts skipping some facts. Go on, my bad.
Yeah, no, you're right. And I mean, again, like the big thing that everybody that the documentary is leaving out is that this all started because people criticized the art quality and the story quality and the writing of ISOM issue 1, and Eric couldn't take the criticism, and then Eric started to attack everybody that criticized his book, doing the exact same thing that people like Eric has been saying for years and years and years, that the mainstream has been attacking their fans. Well, here Eric is attacking his fans, people that bought his book, and then he wants to try and claim like he's different from the mainstream and blah 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 when he's using the same damn tactics. And so he started attacking them, they started attacking him back, and the whole thing escalated and snowballed. But this all started because Eric July couldn't handle criticism.
Yep. And you could even bring up Chris Bacon and a good example, BTM. BTM who paid, and then Eric just came at BTM when BTM's a paid customer, spent $500 and all that, and following certain routes, it leads back to the EVS behavior as well. Where I think some people paid for his book, and when they said, yo, it's late, the customer, this and that, and out of nowhere, customer got doxxed and this and that. That's why I say, I saw this coming. I'm like, man, the apple, doesn't fall far from its inspirational tree,
No, you're right. You're right. You know what? It's kind of weird too when you think about it. Like they want to call themselves a parallel economy. So now you have like Comicsgate, which is supposed to be like the parallel alternative to mainstream comic books, and then you have the Rippaverse, which is a parallel economy to the parallel economy. And I'm like, so we have parallel economies within parallel economies. This is some Alice in Wonderland down the rabbit hole shit.
I mean, they all wanted to build their own groups, and you're like, man, they didn't want to do anything collaborations or building. Because to me, what we're watching is, man, and remember, this is before the Trump era begins, man. A lot of things EVS and a lot of these guys don't understand is you accomplished all this without freedom of speech. Imagine when guys like we're talking right now, Jasker, some people will say, oh, you guys aren't supposed to be talking like this. They're trying to save the industry, blah, blah, blah. They've been trying to save the industry for how many, 7 years now? You know what I'm saying? It's the next generation of creatives will be operating without the fear, man, without the fear of being able to say and illustrate what they want from the go. Just imagine, dude, 2025, an artist comes out with a comic book that, you know, is like 90s level offensiveness that would be canceled right now. I'm currently YouTube is currently deleting a mass amount of my videos, hate speech, whatever. You know, I mean, the scam to go against the American Constitution, you know. So I look at EVS and all of them, I'm like, man, once that 90s level of freedom of speech is back, man, you guys will look like child's play. You know what I'm saying? The guys that will be coming out from this that have been held back, man. You know, even I tell guys, like, I spoke to some Gen Z guys and I'm like, man, you don't understand the roasting you're experiencing now. It's tamed. You know what I'm saying? Guys like me that come from, we don't stop, and we don't stop until, you know, you want to fight, or you want to Call of Duty us, or we get your parents involved. All things go, man. You're not getting roasted 90s style. You're getting roasted 2010 style, where we're like, oh, Jasker, be careful. You don't want to use this real word, you know. You might get a hate crime on you. You know what I'm saying? Versus the 90s would have been, yo, man, yeah, I don't want to get this stream strike.
My whole existence is a hate crime. Y'all do with that what you will. But let's continue.
Everyone said, "Oh man, that's awesome. Here's a bunch of."
I don't want sick kids to not have comic
books. Send 10 kids a copy of your "I love everything that you're doing."
Yeah. Well, what could be a problem with that?
Oh, that's charity fraud.
Oh no! What?
Yeah, that's not charity fraud. Dick is under this weird assumption that just because the donation isn't coming directly out of Eric's pockets personally, and that he's breaking even, that he must be scamming the charity and committing some type of fraud. Ethan Van Sciver did something similar with Cyberfraud Blood Honey. He said he was raising $10,000 for a men's cancer charity with his comic, so he took money for some purchased books, donated the $10K he promised to the cancer charity, then used the rest to print more books. That was also not charity fraud. The fucking charity Rippaverse donated to personally thanked Eric and Rippaverse for their large contributions. Dick was just throwing shit at a wall to see what would stick and get a rise out of Eric. He even straight up admitted to not giving a fuck about the charity at all.
Is there enough backstory for comic books for kids?
Okay.
Yeah. And at first I thought maybe I shouldn't talk about this because I don't want to fuck up that guy's deal. The comic book charity guys.
Sure.
Yeah, but then I thought, fuck it.
Now what's interesting is that when you accuse Dick Masterson of a serious crime, he gets...
Not to interrupt it again, it's that this guy, this is what I mean with the Gen Z or the millennial, whatever. He doesn't get, man, I don't give a damn what you're doing, man. It's not that I don't care about charity. I don't care what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean Dick wouldn't help a charity or this and that. It's called, yo, it's you. It's like if me and Jasker got a problem, Jasker could be helping somebody with cancer, and I'll be like, man, I don't care. Man, F Jasker. You know what I'm saying? They're not used to that. Oh man, he's heartless because he doesn't care about charity. Dude, I don't like the person helping the kids with charity. So I don't care what you do. This shows you the difference, man. The where the emotion of the 2010s mind works. Oh man, Jasker and Andrew they're not good. They don't like charity. No, bro, I don't like you. If I don't like you, I don't like anything you do. You know? Go on, my bad.
It's very defensive and threatens to sue for defamation. Dick can apparently dish it out, but he can't take it that well. I want you to keep that in mind for later. While the scamming a charity narrative that Dick, Vito, and their fans kept pushing was annoying, it was just internet babble. Some trolls trying to get a reaction. Rip had dealt with that before. What he hadn't dealt with was the level of A-logging that the dickheads were planning to carry out. Specifically, that Riley was. After getting his business location from someone who actually did get DMCA'd by Rippaverse Publishing, he decided to pay a visit to Eric's property, his warehouse, vandalize it by taping dollar bills on the glass, and then issuing schizo-ass threats to Eric on Twitter. Now, do I believe that Riley is a threat to anyone but himself? No, not really. But if I was a nigga running a brand new $1 million company and some autistic internet creature was creeping around my property and antagonizing me while his receding hairline boss and obese co-host were making memes about it, slandering the fuck out of my business and accusing me of federal crimes, I'd be a little upset. You know, just a little bit. The most annoying thing about Dick and his community is that they act like Eric July is some irrational spastic lolcow when he's really a perfectly reasonable black man who doesn't appreciate a bunch of LA weirdos fucking with his livelihood for no reason. Riley's shenanigans would eventually get
this shit right here is ridiculous. Yo, man,
Oh,
if you're hiring the Soska sisters, there's nothing perfectly reasonable about you.
Oh hell no, nah, man. It's you see what I mean? He started sugarcoating whatever Eric did, man. Dude, he hired the Soskas. He claimed to be a libertarian. First thing he does, he called the cops, and you know what I'm saying? He's a coward.
No. Not libertarian, an anarcho-capitalist.
Whatever the fuck that is.
I mean, some made up BS, man. It's
Like to me, basically means like I can do whatever I want and you can't do anything to me.
oh man, to me, Eric's normal, and his biggest video that went viral was him screaming about roads. Come on, man.
The bitch ass roads.
Bitch ass roads. And you're like, dog, they ain't nothing normal. The guy cried on a stream. The stream with EVS showed how fragile he is. Well, you know, man, I don't see the problem. You want me to read to you the script? Man, the guy's, you know, I wouldn't be surprised. I've always talked to somebody, we need to make a brand called Man Ponds for men that sit down when they piss in the restroom. You know what I mean? Eric was super sensitive, and it shows this guy. Now I remember he's cherry picking, and he's doing a lot of, I forget that word. It's not backflips. He's doing a lot of flipping to make this work.
Yo, you know what I just pictured in my head. Imagine Eric July just flopping around like a fish on a freshly paved road. And the whole time he's flopping around, he's just yelling out, "Fuck them hoe ass roads, man." I don't know, like the way my mind works sometimes scares the fuck out of me. That's the image that comes to mind.
Oh man, you got random thinking, man. Nothing wrong with that. You got a random mind, man. It's to me the Eric situation. It's just, man, the guy to me, man, he's not stable. And the Soska sisters, you're like, man, Eric, you want to hit a white girl so bad that you want to touch your twins that are literally practicing incest. A millionaire seeks out incest, man. You're like, this, you can't write this shit. I tell people the day they make the Eric July documentary, man, it's gonna be gold, man. It's gonna be a gold mine, man. A gold mine of horror.
I've told people this. I said, look, Eric July is a Turkey Tom video in the making.
Oh, what is that? Turkey Tom.
You know, Turkey Tom, he does like these long form documentary style videos talking about controversial figures, people that have fallen from grace. Yeah, there's going to be one on Eric July eventually.
Yeah. I look at the Eric situation. I'm like, man, he's just not mentally stable, man. And all this stuff he's done, it's not even against just his political views, bro. It's against literally humanity when you're hiring women that practice incest.
Bro, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think that beard is an alien parasite that has infected Eric July's brain. And I've said it before. I'll say it again right here and now. We can save Eric July if we just shave Eric July.
Shave his beard, man. Yeah, think about it. I mean, when Eric's beard was shaved, he was dancing. I mean, you know, very closeted. You know, Eric could have been in like a Hollywood casting couch for free. You know what I mean? The way
he could have been in High School Musical.
Oh yeah, he could have been in that. But now I think, yeah, the beard, the shoulder hair, and the beard is taking over his body. You know, and the shoulder hair. It's just he needs to be he needs like a barber that's a former pastor or something that could give him the holy shave.
He needs somebody that can shave the beard and perform an exorcism at the same time.
You're saying a beardicism?
Yeah, a beardicism. Yo, Michael in the chat. Eric is actually just hair that grew skin.
Oh shit.
That's disgusting. Ew.
Oh.
Like he came out of the womb, he was just a big, like fluffy ball of hair, and then as time went on, like like his fleshly body just slowly started to develop. It like that's fucking crazy, bro.
A man said he's just a hair that just grew skin.
That's fucking great.
That's legendary, right? Oh man, that's legendary right there. I'm gonna keep that one in my mind.
That's crazy, man.
That's crazy. He's just hair that grew skin. That's legendary, man.
It's like Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's more hair than skin now.
He's
He
more
has-
hair. He is more hair than man.
Yup, he has the hair ground.
Oh man.
Oh man.
Okay, let's keep this moving.
But he would get released. His initial butt-breaking expedition in Texas didn't amount to much. But just when Eric thought
Wait. Hold up.
he'd get him arrested, to Dick's annoyance. But he would get released. His initial butt-break.
Yo, it's Eric July, the college years. This is before the beard.
That ain't makeup. That's true right there.
Breaking expedition in Texas didn't amount to much. But just when Eric thought he could relax, the dickheads threw a new insane attack out. This new major gay op didn't come from Dick, Vito, or even Riley, but from a random fan called an obtuse gnome who contacted the International School of Ministry, also known as ISOM, and told them that Eric July was infringing on their trademark. Some say that this wasn't actually a random fan who contacted the ministry, that it was actually just Vito, and that obtuse gnome is just a sock account of his.
A bunch of people on the internet are lying about me. So the claim is that this is a sock puppet account that we set up specifically to harass people. Here I've been able to pull up tweets going all the way back to 2016, 2017. He was in hundreds of conversations over the past 7 years.
Okay, and you've been on Twitter since 2010, Vito. What does this disprove? Also, it's interesting that you were the guy who got the DM first instead of Dick. While there's no way to prove that Dick or Vito had anything to do with contacting the ministry themselves, goddamn if they didn't enjoy every second of what happened next. That is that the International School of Ministry served Rippaverse Publishing for trademark infringement. I feel it's worth pointing out that the International School of Ministry was not only not the only organization to use the name ISOM before Rippaverse did, it wasn't the only ministry in the United States that used the name ISOM. We have the Indiana School of Ministry, the Illinois School of Ministry, and the Iowa School of Ministry, all of which use the acronym ISOM. So the International School of Ministry didn't care to enforce anything with these other ministries, but it did with a comic book. Maybe that comic making almost $2 million also has something to do with the lawsuit. And if all that wasn't enough, while all this was transpiring, Riley was still out in the field.
All right, hold up. Now, you got to consider something here. One of the reasons that the school went after Eric is because you got to remember, like this is an international school of ministry. It's a Christian organization. Eric is getting on here. He's cussing all the time, calling everybody, the F slur, like all this shit. So one of the reasons they went after him and not after some of the other people that have, oh my God, I had acid reflux for a second. My bad. Like that. Oh God, there's like some hair coming up. It's oh fuck, I've been infected.
He's been infected, guy. I told people Eric is infecting the water.
Oh no, it's begun.
It's in his body.
No, so one of the reasons the school went after Eric instead of going after some of those other organizations is because, number one, if you typed in ISOM, you didn't get all these other organizations. You know what you got? When the first result was Eric's comic, and then it was the International School of Ministry, and they were actually getting contacts from people asking like, oh, are you associated with the Rippaverse? Are you associated with Eric July? Because people thought that the international, because remember, Eric portrayed himself as being a friend to Christian conservatives for years and years and years. So people thought he may have been working with the International School of Ministry, and they didn't want to be associated with him because of, how edgy some of his videos are. They didn't want that to tarnish their image. So they went after Eric because it was a matter of separating themselves from Eric's comic book company because they did not want Eric to tarnish their image. Which, what does that say about Eric July? That a Christian ministry is like, that's supposed to be open armed and welcoming like Jesus was, and they're like, nah, bro, like not even Jesus Christ wants you.
Not you, man. And the thing is, we went over this on a Tony stream where it was explained that some of these, due to localness and certain aspects, they were allowed, and they didn't go by ISOM. It's just they used it. But this guy's cherry picking, and you could tell he's one of those, Eric
fanatics.
Fanatics support, and sees Eric as the Black Stan Lee.
Yeah,
that was obnoxious.
Yeah, there's so much context missing here. It's not just, they went after Eric because he just made $2 million off of a comic book. It's like
because they were jealous.
No, it's like, bro, they went after Eric because they didn't want their ministry associated with his type of content. That's what it was. They wanted to create a distinction. And let us not forget that they weren't even going to make Eric pay anything. Like, they were not going to take legal action to begin with. They straight up just wanted to sit down with Eric, have a talk, and be like, look, just rename the book. Like, you can call it The Adventures of Isom, or The Incredible Isom, or something like that.
Or just get rid of the name Isom and just completely give him a new hero name.
Well, not even that. Like, they weren't even asking for that. They just wanted to have some kind of subtitle. Like, it's not like a Spider-Man. It's called the Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah,
or Uncanny X-Men. Like that. Like, they were just wanting something like that, and Eric wouldn't do it. And we don't know exactly how much money Eric had to pay out, but we know that Eric had to settle the lawsuit with the International School of Ministry because he knew that if it went to court, they were going to win. And from what I understand, like being in conversations with Chris Bacon over this, is that if Eric had gone to court and lost, like, he would have had to pay over $1 million in damages, which would have been devastating to his company. Now, because he settled, he got to pay a lot less, and I believe that we don't know the full amount, but it's somewhere in the neighborhood of $300,000.
Man, he had to settle. And this is a guy, I tell my friend this, a lot of people don't get it. Eric, and I've been saying this, the streams for, over a year. Eric left behind potentially over $10 million because he wanted to return to streaming. It's kind of like the EVS thing. When you look at EVS and Eric, the parallels, you made 720,000, or what is it? You made $1 million something with the first Cyberfrog.
Right.
And you think, you're gonna go on tours and conventions. Nope, I'm going back to YouTube to stream for $1 every 1,000 views. Come on, man.
I'm just gonna stay in my little safe space.
Because, dude, they never wanted to really help the industry. You look at Eric, you made over $3 million. I would have been touring with ISOM for like a good whole year, from America to the world. And of course, you would have talked to people, improved, but it shows the lack of stability, that everything you do is to feed the ego. In Eric's eyes, you didn't buy ISOM. You bought Eric July.
Yeah.
You paid for Eric July, just like the Frog.
The exact same thing with Ethan. Like they did not buy Cyberfrog because they actually thought Cyberfrog was a cool story. They bought Cyberfrog because they wanted to support Ethan.
No, even beyond that, it's that even if you wanted to buy Cyberfrog, in the eyes of the creator, it's you bought me. You purchased me, and for the experience of me. It's got nothing to do with my books. That's why Eric July, after making this much money, what do? He goes right back to streaming and yelling and cursing for $1.25 per 1,000 views. If I made 3.5 million selling comics, you know what I would have been doing? I gotta make more comics. I gotta move.
Yeah.
I gotta travel. I gotta tour with this. I gotta keep it going. I'm not gonna return to YouTube to scream and curse at people
And start
and
drama.
yeah, I'm gonna call it PR firm. I gotta fix my whole attitude. The world bought this. That's why I say I respect the Brits. Right after Isom won, I don't think any other British people, overseas people, ever dealt with Eric again. I think they read it. They were, oh my God, I spit out my tea.
Well,
reading
this is
awesome-
short.
To be
Oh,
fair, he
is
does
awesome.
have he does have Az.
Fucking pronouns.
Az doesn't count, man. Az has just been attached to the hip to Americans for money because he knows the people in London are like, what's he's yelling about? What's this bro screaming?
What he yelling about?
Yeah, what he's screaming about? Did he have his tea? Did he have his tea? I've never watched Star Wars and wanted to yell at somebody. I'll just drink my tea and fish and chips.
You're bloody mental, Az.
Yeah,
He's fucking bloody mental.
Yeah, he's lost his bloody mind.
I'll throw him in the loony bin.
He's embarrassing to the Queen. You know what I mean? They don't care. I doubt they care about pop culture like that in London. A lot of these guys are grifting towards America. They're like, oh, the Americans are into this. They got freedom of speech. So, you know, they're into you screaming about Star Wars and yelling and all that BS.
Speaking of grifting, the whole Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight ended, and it was a big nothing burger.
Oh,
that doesn't surprise me.
I was watching it. Mike lasted. He threw some bowls. He threw some punches.
But it was like 8 rounds in 2 minutes per round.
Well, you know, come on, you're too old. You can't.
The whole idea was stupid to begin with.
I just wanted Mike Tyson to fuck Jake Paul up. I'm gonna be honest.
Man, looks
trust
like
me. Trust me. After you watch it, Mike Tyson did not do very much.
No, he hit, but it's just I heard he was injured because he kept biting his teeth. But
I saw that. I was like, why is he doing that?
Keep biting his teeth, but I think I'm just glad he survived. You know, he didn't.
Yeah.
He didn't get it. He's too old to get knocked out like that.
Boy, now imagine how embarrassing that would be. You die and you're standing before God, and it's like, how did you die? And it's like, I was murdered by.
I was murdered by a punk in the boxing ring.
Jake Paul. I couldn't take that to my grave. Man.
No, man. I'd be like, listen, I deserve to go to hell for that alone.
Yeah, but Jake Paul was not all that impressive either.
Jake Paul looked shook, man. It looked like if Mike had a little more energy, Jake Paul would have been sleeping.
If he was, if Tyson was 20 years younger, he would have been fucked. He would have been fucked.
I think if Tyson, the energy, but I mean, the fight, it delivered more than I thought. I thought Tyson would have been out. You know, I'm just happy.
The better fights, was the 2 fights before them.
Yeah, he did all right. You know what I mean? People were entertained. It's just, but yeah, might as well.
Yeah, strain beans.
Well, speaking of fights, let's continue on with the fight between Eric and Riley.
Being a menace. And in his next attempt to get at young Rippa's gold, he would go to the tombstone of Eric's great-grandfather, whose Isom's protagonist was named after, and piss on it. Now, this didn't actually happen because another dickhead beat Riley to it first and posted a fucking selfie. Just a reminder, all of this happened because Vito Gesualdi was jealous of a a black man. Now, Dick's community,
that
especially
is
Vito, found this shit
wildly
hilarious.
out of
The non-degenerates didn't find this shit
context.
so funny.
I'm not gonna lie, this is one of the more difficult videos that I've had to record. The reason I'm doing it is because I just want folks that maybe missed this to just understand what type of individuals it is that I'm dealing with and how jacked up they really are. One of these detractors went to my great-grandfather's grave and put stuff on it. and took a picture of it because haha, it's just fun, it's giggles and all that good stuff.
As for EVS, while he didn't approve of what the dickheads were doing, he didn't condemn any of it either, and was still on friendly terms with Dick and Vito. This didn't sit right with Rippa, who thought it was kind of messed up that Ethan could be so friendly with dudes who literally said that they wanted to harm Eric's business.
Were you trying to ruin Eric's business?
With the charity, no.
Are you trying to ruin Eric's business now?
Yeah. I don't think anyone should buy Eric's comics.
Eric expressed these frustrations via DMs to EVS. Unfortunately for Eric, he didn't account for one thing: Ethan Van Sciver pulling an Ethan Van Sciver. In October of 2023, just a little while after the Tombstone selfie incident, Ethan dropped some DMs exchanged between him and Eric July that he framed as a threat, like they were Taliban night letters or something.
So I got a text saying someone's dropping private tweets on Twitter from me. Okay, let's go through this real quick. Okay, so Ethan has posted a DM to me. He says, this is me, and this is what it is.
Yeah, so so even I think that Ethan completely overblew this.
Well, this one, not to interrupt you, is that Eric was a hypocrite on this. Geeks and Gamers, Gary, this is where I say Gary's his stepdad and EVS was his father, because Gary and EVS had issues. So for Eric to say, well, why are you talking to people when I have problems with them? Then why was Eric talking to Gary going on Geeks and Gamers, knowing damn well they wouldn't want to deal with EVS? I always saw this part and I'm like, it makes no sense that you're going to say, EVS, why are you talking to Dick Masterson and them when you're doing the same thing, talking to EVS behind Gary's back? You know what I'm saying? So,
well, the point,
man, go on, bro.
Well, the point is that reading through that text, it really doesn't seem all that threatening. It's not like he told him it's not like he told him I'm gonna find out where you live and I'm gonna send my people to go after you. If you don't fall in line.
Oh yeah, well, they were gonna run a circular, circle streams of just attacking him.
Yeah.
And I think that's what he was worried about. They were gonna just keep doing these streams, Geeks and Gamers and all that. But the thing is, I think the situation Eric didn't respect. At the end of the day, whether EVS delivers or not, dude, that's EVS. The man worked for DC, and I was in college when the Green Lantern thing happened. It was like the Beatles. Everybody was buying lantern rings. I was like, oh wow, what is it called? The whitest day. Was it the whitest day?
No,
brightest day.
Brightest day, yeah.
Brightest day, man, dude. It revitalized it. The Green Lantern was like the Beatles. Then, of course, DC being DC, urinated on it, messed it up, but it was huge. It's just that Eric's problem was, man, he thinks he's on the level of EVS when what I think's happening to Eric, as I've accepted, dude, Eric at this time is just garbage. But he doesn't get is that people grew up on Ethan. Even if Ethan lets them down, nostalgia and their loyalty to that nostalgia will bring them back. Okay, Rainbow Brute hasn't been released in over 2 years.
3 years.
3 years, but that's Ethan, man. I grew up with Ethan. You know what I'm saying? Grew up with him, man. So I'll give him another chance. You know what I'm saying?
Not me. I'm like, I never grew up with him, so so he ain't getting that kindness from me.
Man, it's just the thing is with Eric, and I saw when and me and Jasker went over when Tony was streaming, went over how Eric responded to EVS giving him notes. I think the way you wrote the script, Eric, think you could do this and that, and Eric was like, nah, I don't think so. Because I told people, Eric, it was Gangland. I tell people, watch, for the love of God, watch one episode of Gangland, and you'll understand. Eric July wanted to replace EVS as the leader of the gang. But Eric July just has none of the mental fortitude and skills. And right now he's making some money, whatever. But at the end of the day, it's just, man, a buddy of mine told me Eric is just alternative trash. It's five. That's why I'm on Twitter and I'm like, I don't react. No, I'm like, dude, he's on his 5th garbage book.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you ordering from a restaurant and you got 3 meals that were trash. You were vomiting, and you were like, you know what? Let me get 5 more. It's decided. It's garbage, man.
Yeah. And, like, have you seen like the images going around with like the horsemen, with like the horsemen villains, where it's like that Viking dude and his girlfriend.
Yup, AI.
Like, it looks so bad.
It's AI, bro.
Oh, like, is it seriously AI?
Oh, it is. It's gotta be AI. The hands, the eyes. Like, if you look at the eyes of horsemen
No,
sitting down, you'll
no,
see that.
no. I think it's drawn by someone who's like not totally there.
Oh no, bro. They're using it. You can use AI now to fill things in. Trust me, man. I wouldn't doubt it's AI that he's using, bro, to get this thing done. Because the arms, the way it's shaded,
That
and
one
even
like that one little object in the ceiling that is like, what the frick is that thing?
right. Well, I mean, he's paying sweatshops in Brazil. This
Yeah.
it's like Zach. You know, I think you saw the first section of this documentary. Zach did the 41499. This is you. This is the same Zach who screamed at Marvel and DC for bad art. You hire somebody who's drawn kindergarten level. These guys don't care, man. They don't care at all. They're here to just pollute the comic book industry with garbage, and they and they could say we made some money, and you're like, dude, this is you're the left. You're the same woke activists that say, you know what, a painting is me just rubbing my balls on the wall. You know what I'm saying?
I don't care about the quality. Like, I just want something, that'll make me money. Like, I don't care, what the quality is.
Nah, man, it's that because I'm telling you, if you look up Zach, and I think I showed it to Jasker, if you look up the 411, is this you? Dear God, it was drawn by Narwhal, and the art is, dear God, and I think EVS was promoting, well, this is Narwhal, and you're like, dude, seriously? All the artists on Instagram doing commissions, new work, you're promoting this garbage. My God, man. This movement is gonna be as successful as trying to urinate upside down.
well, like the indie comic, the indie comic quote unquote industry is not going to be won by groups. It's going to be won by individuals.
Right.
And that's how it should be. It's not going to be won, but by. Like, it's not going to be won by Comicsgate. It's not going to be won by Rippaverse. It's going to be like individual creators. Like this whole thing with like trying to be the next Marvel or DC. Like that has come to an end. Where we have the technology to where like just an individual person can can make his own comic series. So there's actually no point in trying to make the next Marvel or DC.
No. Well, I mean, the thing is this. I wrote multiple books. To me, you get in contact with me, out of respect for the homie Jasker, I'll give you free copy. It don't matter. The problem with the indie guys is that they're pursuing failure. Guys in the indie should not be doing floppies. You should be doing graphic novels. It makes no sense, and this is what's killing the comic book industry. 1 issue a month. Are you insane? In an age, we've been watching new episodes of Love and Marriage, Family Matters once a week. Netflix, you could binge watch for the last 10 years. You want me to remember 1 issue for a whole month. Then the indie guy comes, here's 1 floppy. I want you to remember this for 6 months to a year to 2 years. Are you insane? The momentum is dead. I think indie guys You want to succeed, the best bet is the graphic novel approach, but with a film approach is it beginning, middle, and end. Treat it like a movie. It ends, and I say black and white. You don't need color.
Yeah.
Manga has sold over billions of copies, and Jasker's a bigger manga head than me. It sold billions of copies. No one cares. I tell comic creators this: color is a choice, not a necessity. You know what I'm saying? Think about it. Batman Returns was grayish, whatever it was, you know what I mean? No one cares. And I've seen indie guys go broke just for color.
Walking Dead was completely black and white.
Oh, repeat that one more time, brother. One more time, man.
Yeah.
You gotta preach that one more time. You know what I mean? You said Walking Dead was black and white. The indie market, they're just so thirsty to follow their heroes. I call it, you idolize your heroes without being honest. I'm gonna be honest with you. We're independent. I'm not Stan Lee. I'm not Todd McFarlane. I don't work for a major corporation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You gotta be honest with your resources and what you can do.
Yeah.
And guys releasing floppies every 6 months, 2 years, and then get mad that the fans moved on. They got tired of waiting for issue 2 5 fucking years later.
Yeah.
All right, bro.
I've already just given up on on the idea of just selling floppies, and just go off the radar, and just finish King of Justice Volume 1. I'll still try to sell what I have left of King of Justice 1 and 2, just to get rid of them. But from here on out, I'm just gonna work on the volumes.
Well, not even volumes. My thing is, dude, treat it like a film. Like, I don't know if y'all saw Bad Boys. I watched Bad Boys 1. Wasn't that released like 94, 95? Bad Boys 2 didn't come out to like 2002 or something. That's over 5 years, but I saw the first movie. I understand. Even the volumes. I'm gonna send you the book, bro. Just send me a message on X. But the thing is, bro, volumes are for corporations. Like, you're working for a company, they want you to work volume 1, volume 3. They want you to keep working on volumes so you can't move on to another company. They want to burn you out. You should, in my opinion, you have to approach comics as an indie like films. I'm making a 60-page film. It begins, middle, and end. If the fans are so in love with it, I could do prequels that go deeper in the lore. It should not be the first option. I'll use Eric July as an example. Eric's most successful 2 franchises was Isom and, of course, Yaira. Why the hell was what was that book he released with the green? They're all wearing green and all that BS.
Alpha Core.
Yeah, why? How can Alpha Core come out before Yaira? How can, you know what I'm saying? It shows you the lack of understanding how comics work. Comics are based on the fans. Wolverine was so big in the Hulk, they were like, all right, man, we got to put him into something. He's an X-Men. Now he's so big and loved in X-Men, we could give him his own book. You can't force it on the fans. You know what I'm saying? Isom was one. In my opinion, Yaira could have made more money in the long run than Isom, because the woke women have made attractive, girlish females damn near impossible to see as a hero. That's why I think Tim Lin somewhat succeeding with Common Americas. It's a regular, attractive woman who's girly and bubbly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if y'all watch Teen Titans. It's like every female character is Raven.
Yeah.
It's horrible. Most female characters should be like Starfire. Bubbly, happy, cheerful, a freaking girl, man.
like there's only one Raven.
Bro. She's the rarity,
like,
man.
Every female character should be their own character. Like if there was ever like a Teen Titans movie, where they have Starfire, Raven, and maybe Wonder Girl, Wonder Girl could be like the fish out of water character, who like doesn't really understand how things work. Starfire can be like the bubbly character, how like she always, like how she's always portrayed in the cartoons. And Raven can just be, how Raven is always portrayed in the cartoons, stoic and, stoic and like very serious all the time.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, I look at it like this. People don't understand, writing females. Writing a female, women are more emotional and they're more into looking at men differently, happily. Dude, it's rare to meet a woman that's just pure rage and wants to be aggressive. Like
Captain Marvel. Like, all you basically did was, just take a man and put him in a woman's body. Like, that's basically all you did.
Yeah, that's what they do. I mean, this is what's hurting the female characters. That dude, most females, the mass majority, would be happy to see a cute dress, a nice styly thing, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I might do a little reference. It might seem kind of odd, but I think a female tends to be like you're riding a cat, and a man tends to be you're riding a dog.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? A dog is locked in, focused on the mission and, what's got to be done, while the cat, oh my God, a rose. And the cat just, you know what I mean? It's the female's more, feminine and all that. And then you see all these female characters now, and you're like, dude, you don't want to date that, female. You don't want nothing to do with it. It's and the biggest scam in the 2010s was this narrative that women can be masculine. They're not masculine. That's just an angry woman. She's mean and angry. She's not masculine. That's a man thing.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as a masculine. That's like me calling you I forget the word, a feminine man. It's like how is he
like a beta male?
Yeah, like how are you feminine when if it's a female trait? Like how is that you? It's the 2010s, man. That's why I can't wait for this, man. This Trump era. As a guy from the 90s I've been in a chain, man. I've been chained for over 10 years, man. Unleash, let me be free, man. Jesker knows, man. Just being able to reply to people and talk the way we want to talk, man.
Yeah. But kind of bad.
All right. Well, hold up, guys. We got to get through this.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm all for conversation, but we got to get through this, man. I mean, let's at least get through the end of this chapter of the video, and then we'll talk.
Here's what I said. I'm going to be 100 with you and not be public with it. You're going out of your way to play middle of the road publicly with a dude that is going out of his way to work overtime to publicly defame is whack. It's even weaker that you lay credence to their narrative. I treat you like I do anybody else in this space, and I do not use my platform to amplify narratives that go against others I'm cool with. Everybody I do shows and streams knows not to bring up any gripes with people I'm cool with, as I will not give it the time of day. I'm going to start reciprocating on that. If you want to chat about it, you're free to call. What the fuck? And now he's in the chat. He says, let's be honest about it. You're trying to, what are you talking about, Ethan? Trying to silence you. What are you talking about? How is this trying to silence? You are a grown man with your own platform. How on earth can I silence you? What are you talking about, homie? It's a personal tip, bro. We supposed to be cool. I can't talk to you in private, clearly, because maybe that, obviously to you, we weren't cool like that. We talked about it on the phone. There was nothing. We got an understanding, and now it's all I'm gonna put his DMs on black. What the fuck? I ain't done nothing to you, bro. What was the point of this?
Rippa was completely blindsided that Ethan would do something like this because he wasn't paying attention, because he never watched any of shitty webcomics videos about Comicsgate, probably because their old channel, with tons of videos exposing EVS and CG, got flagged down. Anyone who had been paying attention to the shenanigans of Ethan Van Sciver over the years knew this play was perfectly in character for the Frog King. Ethan even did a little skit with Riley when he suddenly popped over at his warehouse to show how much of a pansy Eric had been. But you see, Uncle Ethan was confused. He thought this signature move of his would work just like it worked with Duck to Naples, but he forgot two things. The first thing he forgot was that he didn't have his dedicated Gay Op Battalion war campaign to go after Eric and perpetuate Ethan's narratives like they usually did. The second thing he forgot was that Eric July was never part of Comicsgate. There wasn't that much crossover between the Comicsgate community and the Young Rippa 59 community, and Eric already had a bigger individual audience than the rest of Comicsgate combined. So any attempt at mobilizing the troops against Rippa were pretty goddamn ineffectual, because Rippa had a much larger audience that Ethan couldn't overwhelm or subvert. Do you remember earlier when I pointed out that Kimetsu no Yaiba, oh I'm a weeb by the way in case you didn't know, outsold the entire American comic book industry by itself in 2020? Yeah, that's basically the dynamic between Eric July and Ethan Van Sciver. As far as audience sizes go, they're in completely different weight classes. So Ethan and the rest of Comicsgate burning that bridge with Young Rippa was the equivalent to Staten Island burning the bridge that connected it to the rest of New York City. Okay, you guys needed that bridge a lot more than he did, and so the Rippa Comicsgate war began. Now when I say war, I mean less Ukraine versus Russia or Israel versus the rest of the Middle East, and more South Korea versus North Korea. One side is mostly preoccupied with being wealthy, prosperous, and minding its own fucking business, and the other side is preoccupied with being the pettiest niggas on earth, while their former wealth and prosperity from years prior gradually dries up. Ethan essentially turned this feud with Eric into his new content farm, with many of his CG minions following after his lead, both to please his CG majesty and also to try and get at some of that super chat greenery for themselves, because Comicsgate is undeniably more about streaming than it is about making comics at this point. Even if you are someone in CG whose primary focus is making books, if you ain't CG royalty, you probably ain't doing any of those big numbers Comicsgate campaigns were doing back in 2017 to 2020. The days of milk and honey in Comicsgate are over. We're on that trickle-down economics type shit now. While Eric has given a lot of his haters a few jabs here and there, he's mostly stayed above it and focused on prospering, putting out more books, and building his brand. And this attitude of ignore stupid shit and focus on your business proved to be the best strategy Eric could have possibly gone with, because somehow, by just doing nothing, he gradually racked up W's against his enemies. The first major one was when the Isom lawsuit, the lawsuit Dick, Vito, and their fans swore up and down was going to take Eric July to the cleaners, was abruptly dropped a few days before Christmas of 2023, with Rippaverse and the International School of Ministry coming to a mutual amicable understanding. Now the biggest W Eric July would score by doing nothing was when Young Clipper tried to get the drop on him one last time. He pulled up to a Rippaverse fan meetup, raising a ruckus outside and pop-quizzing Rippaverse fans.
We're here with Alex Stein playing around with what's your favorite part of Isom? Everybody's favorite Dallas comic book. I have copies here, and you will win one of your choice if you tell me what your favorite part is.
My favorite part is there's a part where there's a truck that looks like an F-250, and I love Ford trucks, so...
That's the best answer yet.
Was Riley a danger to anyone there? No, but he was disturbing an event he wasn't welcome at. And most importantly, Riley had a warrant out for his arrest for stalking. So once again, 12 got called. Once again, Riley got arrested, and once again, Dick was left seething, lashing out at random people who attended the meetup as if they had anything to do with it, as if Dick wasn't egging Riley on the whole time. Nigga, what the fuck did you think was going to happen? Regular ass people don't want to play these goofy internet games in real life. When some autistic gremlin like Riley is menacing the general public, the police get called, and the gremlin in question is either shooed away or arrested. Somehow, these obvious consequences never occurred to Dick. And I gotta remind you one last time that this all happened because Vito Giswaldi was jealous of a successful black man. You remember when Comicsgate was a consumer movement? When it was a hashtag that represented the discon...
All right, hold up. So, before we continue on with the next chapter, you have to remember, going back to the whole Isom lawsuit, you have to keep in mind, Eric said time and time again that he was going to win this thing, that he was going to take this to court, and then he settled. We didn't set that standard. Eric set that standard.
Yep. And the other thing, not to interrupt you, is, bro, Isom 3 has still not been released. That's how much of a damage it's done. You know, this guy does a lot of picking. And another thing he did, you know, RIP the comic historian, he said this, manga, it didn't outsell American comics. The problem with the way mangas report sales is they report the sales from the very first volume ever released until now. So Demon Slayer is at 100 million sold. They're counting the sales from the very first volume ever released. They count everything as one. You know what I'm saying? They don't do like comics where issue 1 of Batman sold 500,000. You know, issue 3 sold 200,000. They count the entire lifespan. You know, RIP the comic historian, you know.
Yeah, it's, I mean, it's, again, go to the Rippaverse website. It clearly says at the bottom of that website that the ISOM characters, the Rippaverse characters, are not associated with the International School of Ministry. But yet, Eric July said, and you have to wonder, why haven't we got an ISOM 3 yet? I wonder why. It's probably because Eric's trying to figure out how to change the title to where he's not going to be infringing on any copyright. Eric, I mean, listen, yes, they settled, but Eric got a raw deal when they settled. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Eric got the raw deal. So, yeah, the only ISOM product released since the lawsuit was Young ISOM. I mean, look, man, he's put himself into a pickle. Yeah, they settled, but he clearly got the raw end of that deal. But anyways, let's continue.
Intent of tons of comic book readers. You don't? Well, don't sweat it. The jabronis that make up modern Comicsgate don't remember either, because the community just keeps collapsing, with the duo leading this death march being none other than Ethan Van Sciver and Richard C. Meyer, the dudes who spearheaded monetizing Comicsgate's hashtag and turning the movement into a brand. Now, how are these fine gentlemen holding up as we near the 2024 holiday season? So recently, Ethan had a really, really bad drunk stream. Our mans was tore up from the floor up.
Hey, it's me. I am at ChillerCon, and I am effed up.
And in this drunken stupor, he started to lament just how much of a nobody and has-been he had become.
I've had a lot of drinks. People are buying me drinks. They're giving me drinks. Came out to the bar. Some people recognize me. I'm nobody. I used to be somebody, but I'm nobody now. Even still, some people recognize me.
Also, word on the street is that Ethan was hitting that freebase with some homeless lesbians in a parking lot. Okay, so it probably wasn't a hard drug. It was most likely just weed. But still, for the leader of Comicsgate, who's been crusading hard against another comic creator on YouTube, it was a heinous look. So heinous that the Frog King deleted the stream almost immediately. But sorry, pimp, we already archived that bitch. And after being dragged up and down the internet streets by all his ops, including Eric July, he made this weak-ass post about his wife and how awful her health had been getting. Look, Ethan, that's tragic and all, and I sincerely hope the best for your wife. But why are you telling us this? Is it because you're getting that frog bussy blown out because you made an ass out of yourself on stream and now you're fishing for sympathy points to get some heat off you? Very disgraceful showing from the king of Comicsgate. But Comicsgate's Moses isn't that far behind him in this lolcow Grand Prix because Richard Meyer has decided to burn his channel to the ground. Why? Well, more.
So, again, here's the thing you got to understand about the drunk stream is that there's different kinds of drunks, right? So there's angry drunks, there's sleepy drunks, there's honest drunks, right? Okay.
Regretful drunks.
Now I figured out I was an honest drunk. Not actually from drinking, but just because when I got my wisdom teeth pulled out, apparently like that shit had some kind of effect on me. I don't even remember this, but apparently I was laying there and I told one of the nurses, I said, You're beautiful.
You're pretty.
Ethan Van Sciver is an honest drunk. All right. And what he did there in that drunk stream where he said, I used to be somebody, but now I'm a nobody. That's him being honest.
They keep buying me drinks, but I'm a nobody.
Yeah, that's how he actually sees himself, which means that his self-esteem must be really low.
Well, I mean, the thing is, you saw that, man. The way I look at the drunk thing is that he was admitting where he currently is. EVS knows, especially after Conan 19, where all the schools were shut down and locked down and all that. Dude, everything, he's lost everything. And, you know, he knows he's just doing this to keep things up, and no one's falling for the scams and the traps anymore. You can't get sympathy anymore. You can't say we're fighting the woke and you're like, you got a book that's over 3 years old, you know what I'm saying? And you're cursing out the fans and demanding. I remember the greatest excuse he said, well, you know, I'm gonna be releasing the books late because I believe in quality, and quality takes time, years. You know, you can't just hop on quality. You have to skip and take your time. And I'm like, dog, people know. You're backtracking. Everyone knows. It's like someone robbed you 5 times in your home, and then they come back and you're armed And they're like, dude, I'm not gonna rob you. I'm not gonna do nothing. I've never robbed you or hurt you. You're like, dude, you robbed me 5 times. I'm ready. You know, the EVS story is just, you're just seeing them all fall, man. They're finally, I call it, you make enough money, you get successful enough to truly reveal yourself now. There's no more going up. There's only going to who you truly are now. You know what I'm saying? And
I've always said this. Money does not make you worse. Money just allows you to be your worst self. You are always that way. You just never had the financial resources to fully express it.
To me, money just allows, like you said, money, in my opinion, I've always said this, money, when people bring up this whole narrative of money's the root of all evil, I look at it as distraction. I've never held a dollar bill and heard voices. I've never heard Benjamin Franklin tell me, you know, you could rob something. You know, you could steal something. Like, what was that, Benjamin? You speaking to me from the money? Dude, money just allows you to afford to be your unfiltered self without consequences. Like you said, Jask, you can afford to be. You've always been a piece of trash. And now you got the money. Now you got the money to afford to be trash all day. You know what I'm saying? That's all it is. It allows you, there's no such thing as all money is the root of all evil. Nah, man, if you were a gullible, oh man, I lost all my money when I got it. Dude, you've always been this way. You can afford to, you know, abandon, you know, you don't got to worry. Like if me, Jasker, you, Andrew, we work together, I got money. I don't got as much money. I got to be nice around you. I got to worry about how I talk to you. But if I'm just made 500,000, man, fuck Jasker. You know,
man,
fuck Andrew, man. You know, this how I really feel. This is who I truly am, man. F you. You know what? I'm going to go pee in your food in the fridge.
I'll still be nice to everybody, even if I get rich.
I mean that's the but the thing is, I'll disagree with you on one thing though. Money isn't the root of all evil. Comic books are the root of all evil.
No, don't say that.
That's what this that's what I'm gonna say when this whole, like, when CG's gone, the Rippaverse is gone, and I'm laying there on my deathbed. That's what I'm gonna tell my grandkids. I'm gonna be like, listen, there's one piece of wisdom I can leave you with. It's that comic books are the root of all evil. If we could just eliminate comic books, humanity would live in a utopia. You gotta go.
No,
you gotta moonwalk on the graves of Marvel and DC.
No, get rid of the comics, but keep the manga.
Nah, manga will never beat America, man.
No, you got to get rid of all of it. Anything. The printed word is evil.
So the Bible is evil?
We need to go.
Whoa, wait a minute! Nah, you can't back me to a corner like that.
Yes, I can.
You're trying to get me canceled. No.
You heard it, folks. Jesker thinks that the Bible is evil.
No. See, Andrew didn't have to get rich. He's already showing piece of shit that he truly is.
Already corrupted. You know what I mean? The thing is this, man. You know, if you might have just said it's time to read. People, we need to read more in Braille. I know you could see, but if you want to read pure writings, read in Braille. You know, feel the words. You know,
we need to go back to hieroglyphics, man. The Egyptians had it right.
What are you talking about? We already do. Did you know with emojis?
You know what? We're starting to course correct. Thank God.
We're going back to the cave paintings.
All right. Let's speaking of cavemen, we might I forget, is Sturgis in this? I don't know. We'll see.
No.
Or charitable actors would say his mind's been rattled ever since the suicide of Ed Piscor, a suicide that Meyer and many others pinned on the malicious slander and witch hunting from vindictive SJWs in the industry. Now, those of us who don't give a fuck about charity and have been paying attention to Richard's behavior for a while know that the real reason is because people didn't like Furiosa. No, I'm not joking. Furiosa bombing is what caused Zack to crash out, because Meyer is convinced that Furiosa floundered primarily because anti-woke pop culture influencers like The Quartering, Critical Drinker, and Nerdrotic kept shitting on it for being a woke girl boss flick. Now, they didn't. This didn't happen. They just said that general audiences might assume that based on the marketing for the movie. Some of them even said Furiosa was good.
No, what's really got Hollywood and the corporate media analyst panties in a bunch is Furiosa is a well-received film from critics and the audience. And after watching Furiosa, a Mad Max saga, I would have to agree with some of that. It wasn't a bad film.
But your boy wasn't trying to hear all that. In his heart, he knew that his beloved generic summer blockbuster B movie flopped because of these birthday party clowns. Yes, that's literally what he calls pop culture YouTubers he doesn't like. Slandering Furiosa right out of the gate. So Meyer put on his Batman cowl and decided to dedicate his channel to whooping some birthday party clown ass. Because how dare these middle-aged men criticize media that they aren't even the target audience of? Now, those of you who are familiar with your boy Zach's content might be wondering, but Mikey, isn't your boy Zach also a middle-aged man who spent the better part of a decade criticizing media he wasn't the target audience of? Yes, and that's what makes this crash out session so entertaining, because Meyer has literally zero self-awareness that he's the thing he's labeling everyone else as, and bleeding subscribers on the daily while he's doing it. He spent the last 8 years pandering to anti-SJW and anti-woke audiences. Shit, he still can't keep Heather Antos's and Mags Visagios' names out of his mouth, but bro just can't seem to put 2 and 2 together. For years, Richard kept his head low from the strays of all this Comicsgate drama, but he's ironically become the most mind-broken of them all, and now, just like in the good old days of early CG, he's right where his buddy EVS is again. Just a pair of old men knee-deep in dumb internet drama who are behind on delivering their books and who are yelling at clouds and nipping at the heels of bigger, younger creators who are more successful than them. Shortly after delivering Red Planet 3 years late, Ethan would launch in July of 2023 Cyberfrog 3 Red Extermination with an estimated delivery date of, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Ethan is not getting this book out on time. He's just not gonna do it. And I don't need to use my super Negro-Domus clairvoyant powers to determine that. Cyberfrog Red Extermination is due this December, but it might as well be December of 2026. The fate of Comicsgate is way more tragic than Gamergate's. Gamergate's relatively swift death was more of a blessing than a curse, because the dishonor the grifters could inflict upon GG were short-lived. Comicsgate didn't get the mercy of a quick death. The story of CG is almost like a 7-year humiliation ritual, with not only the principles and beliefs of the movement being bastardized by grifters who showed up right out of the gate, but also the grifters themselves gradually evolving into lolcows.
These pros already have somewhat of egos when they come into this thing. They think they're hot shit. And then so they start making some money and they get a little bit of a fan following on YouTube, and it does something to their brain. They stop thinking like normal people, right? They can't think like a normal person anymore. They can only think in this YouTube kind of mindset. And I think it really genuinely fucking corrupts people who might have been good or maybe not as bad as what they are now.
Lolcows who casually abuse the crowdfunding system and their backers' trust. That, along with the failure to deliver their products on time or sometimes even at all, the non-existent customer service, and the prevalence of endless drama directed at people inside and outside of the community, all contributed to Comicsgate becoming the current disgrace it is. And of course, Ethan Van Sciver was always at the center of it. He and his fans can say otherwise, but once War Campaign became a thing and started going after people Ethan disapproved of, like Tim Lim and Nurkish, yeah, that was all she wrote for Comicsgate. Ethan's a good artist, a good showman, and a good salesman, but what he ain't is a good businessman. People were giddy to throw millions of dollars at Comicsgate over the years, but EVS and the rest of the CG tribe just weren't able to properly take advantage of that initial momentum. And now, well, you only have so much time to offer subpar service before superior competition comes rolling in. We are currently in a new era of indie comic creation, and with companies like Rippaverse who came in like titans, or companies like Iconic Comics who show healthy growth every year, you gotta wonder how much longer Comicsgate has before it succumbs to the coming drought. Now, just like any severe drought, the aristocrats at the top will be the last ones to starve. Ethan alone made over $700K off Cyberfrog Red Extermination, so he along with the rest of the Comicsgate royalty will be fine for now. Shit, I wouldn't be surprised if Ethan just ups and abandons the Comicsgate ship if a better opportunity ever arrives. That type of opportunism is basically how we got into Comicsgate anyway. The indie comic scene will be fine and continue to develop regardless of how CG is doing. Well, Mikey, you should at least give Comicsgate credit for giving this new era of indies momentum by popularizing the crowdfunding model. No, I fucking shouldn't, because they didn't popularize it. Dudes like Brian Polito were using crowdfunding to make comics long before Comicsgate came around. If anything, CG made things worse by abusing the crowdfunding model in the way they have over the years. There are people who still are afraid to back another comic because they backed a Comicsgate book years ago and either got it super late or just never got it at all.
Go on to any Ethan Van Sciver Indiegogo campaign. It is just complaints up the wazoo. Where's my book? How come I don't have my book? When am I going to get my book? I want a refund. I'm never backing another crowdfund ever again. I've betrayed, blah, blah, blah. It's just, it is nuts. When you have big creators like that, destroying the mindsets of other people. If this guy can't do it, this professional artist who's been in the industry for 30 years, there's no way that guy can do it. If the 30-year pro can't do it, then there's no way that this guy can do it.
When #Comicsgate first started in 2017, it was about changing the culture of comics, and ultimately, it succeeded. The big two haven't changed much, but we do live in a very different era of comics than we did almost a decade ago. Sucks that the Comicsgate movement slowly killed itself over the years in the process. Hey, hold up. Where you going? And I haven't forgotten about Dick and Vito.
Look, Vito. All right, hold up. Before we get into the last chapter, so a few things I want to say. Well, I think the biggest point to come out of that last little segment is that crowdfunding has been around for a while. It was around before Comicsgate was ever a thing. Now, the problem is that I think there's a lot of truth to what was just said, and that is that because they've used crowdfunding to do all these comics and stuff, and they've not come out, there's been delay after delay. It's really hurt the crowdfunding movement. I mean, there's a lot of people that just won't do it just because they've been screwed over so many times.
Yeah. And come to think about it, you know, EVS and them still promoting people that ain't delivering.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The thing is this, man, and another thing is the skyrocketing prices. I mean, now you go on a Kickstarter and all that, dude, they want $15 for a PDF.
Yeah,
For
that
a
that's
PDF.
that's
That
just
is
criminal.
insanity, man. And $30 for a floppy? Are you crazy? You know, the price is, you know, the problem with you know, kickstarting books and all crowdfunding is these people are basing the price on how they feel versus whether they're established, and they don't get that they're cannibalizing. They're telling you, Jasker, spend $30 on my book. Then, oh, Andrew's launching his book, go spend $30 on his book. Oh, Father Osage is launching his book, go spend. You want $90 for 3 books? Are you crazy?
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? The pricing practices, it shows you, these people don't read the market. You're telling me you want like, for example, Razorfist dropped a 42-page book for $50. You're telling me your comic is more expensive than
fucking dollars?
Yeah, more expensive than Call of Duty? You're telling me your book pages are more expensive than Call of Duty? Come on, man. These people have lost their minds. You know, they're cannibalizing each other, and they don't know how to deliver. Like printing. Like, I did a whole review on Eric's thing. I actually know about printing, and I've learned a lot. And you know, you look at these guys scamming people, and you're like, they're just not ready. You know, and the biggest scam of these Kickstarter websites is these guys get trapped. Everything you do is to benefit Kickstarter, Indiegogo, and these sites where you can't leave. You know, because you're in a situation like me growing up in the 90s. They told you this. You get enough funding. The goal of Kickstarting was, okay, Andrew launches his book. It made, let's say he raised $100 grand. It should be self-sufficient now. Issue 2 should not require Kickstarter to come out. You know what I'm saying? Because you made enough money and then you sell it. This is the problem with Kickstarter. They get a successful Kickstarter, then they don't sell it to people outside of Kickstarter to actually test the physical market and make money off that sales. Then it becomes self-sufficient. Then your next Kickstarter is again a risk. It's something new. They just keep feeding you. How many times you gonna tell me you need to raise money to make a bologna sandwich? You know what I'm saying?
Like,
a lot of go on.
Like they basically turned their Kickstarter and Indiegogo pages as their personal store.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think they rely on what they call that FOMO, fear of missing out. And you're like, dude, you know, people don't get comics are supposed to be disposable entertainment, bro. At its peak, when it was selling millions of copies, it's disposable. Jasker would get Superman 5 and just throw it on the couch after he was finished, you know. Then Andrew might be a collector. He bought 2, one to read, one to collect. Then a guy like me, I might have bought some, or I just walk around your house and say, yo, let me read that. You know what I'm saying? Then I go buy a shirt. I'm more into the merchandise side. You know, it is what it is, man.
Yeah. All right, we're in the last chapter. Let's wrap this up.
It's one thing for Dick and Riley to troll Eric July, but you're not just a troll in this. You're a creator too. You threw your hat in the ring, bro. And it's a really, really bad look for you to have been talking all this bull about how terrible Eric July is as a comic writer and conspiring with Dick to mess with his business and then be almost a full year late to finish and ship out one 65-page book that you aren't even drawing. You barely make content on your own channels. You don't have a show that's currently in production. You don't even stream that much in your own time like the CG guys do. You're just a lazy bastard. Even lazier somehow than Ethan Van Sciver. See, the situation with Superkiller has gotten very complicated for Vito. He dropped a short black and white preview of the book and also claimed in a September update that the book was mostly finished. In fact, all the inking was done and the color inking wasn't far behind. This was a lie. I expected it to be a lie because A, Vito is technically a Comicsgate guy now, and lying about the non-existent progress on your book is like an essential part of being a Comicsgate guy. And B, because it's Vito and he just lies. Like how he says he's pro-free speech, but then, like the little snitch he is, tattletold on Nerd-Erotic just because they had Alex Jones on one time.
When Vito attempted to call attention, we'll say, of Team YouTube to Friday Night Tights on Nerd-Erotic's channel because they had the audacity of having Alex Jones on, and Vito disagreed with what Alex Jones said. No need to trash Vito, man. That's bad optics. Vito is garbage. Vito has been garbage for a long time. He's a piece of shit. I will absolutely trash him.
Or how when Andy Worski was going to box Salt Poppy, he kept sending their boxing promotion super old clips of Andy saying or doing edgy shit to get him kicked off the card.
When I went to my fight to fight Salt Poppy, fucking Vito found an old video of when someone on my show was saying the N-word and I was laughing, and he added KSI,
all
Misfits,
the journalists that were in London
all week.
And you know, we had journalists come up to us at the event and ask us about this shit.
Vito's a piece of shit.
And they're like, you guys seem like cool guys. What's all this bullshit? Like, and we're like, well, this is Vito the pedophile. And they're like, oh, we understand.
Vito is just a big, fat liar. What I wasn't expecting was the magnitude of this lie. Because it ain't looking good, Super Killer Bros. I don't think you guys are getting your comic this month, or next year, because the artist for this book is no longer the artist for this book. Vito, like your typical lazy West Coast liberal, pawned most of the heavy lifting for his book off on some cheap Mexican laborer, Keter Lebel. Turns out Keter was one of those bad hombres Trump was trying to warn Vito about, because he's no longer on the project after he disappointed Vito. I don't know whether he left or Vito just fired him, but I don't think you guys are getting Super Killer this year. I tell you to ask him about it on Twitter, but bro privated his account too. God damn, what a mess. Imagine fucking up the production of your debut crowdfunded comic this badly, and further screwing over your backers who you've kept waiting for nearly a year, all while you were dunking on Eric July for doing this way more efficiently than you. Do you know what that makes you, Vito? Apparently, it makes you Comicsgate royalty.
Guys keep telling me that I'm mad that my comic failed compared to ISOM. I'm like, I don't know, man. I feel pretty good about $90,000.
Well, feel even better about 100,000. That is 6 figures, which is, you know, makes you kind of Comicsgate royalty at that point.
Oh, and one more thing about Vito. Something interesting happened with him. It was him pulling Eric July, as the dickheads would say. Riley, being committed to the bit, said he was going to pull up to Vito's place and give him that young Clipper experience.
Fighting, and if you want me to not talk about you, I won't talk about you. Why don't we just...
Bro!
You don't even have to be my friend. I won't talk about you.
You hat's over the fence, Vito! The hat is over the fence!
Riley, you're both clearly mad at me. You're screaming at me. Are you saying
me screaming is not a sign of anger, Vito! It's a sign of fucking patience!
You're not angry.
Vito wasn't a fan of this idea and threatened to call the police if Riley showed up at his place. This pissed Dick off, because how are you gonna act like this after spending a fucking year going after young Rippa for the exact same behavior? Man, I gotta say that I don't buy any of this. Like, maybe it's real, but this shit just stinks of kayfabe. Just fake drama to stir up attention for the show. But you know what isn't phony? What is verifiably not kayfabe? Remember when I said that Dick's a troll who can dish it out but can't really take it? Well, there's this guy, Jesse, who has a long-running podcast called Pod Awful. Dick and Jesse have a little history with each other that resulted in Jesse getting the he who must not be named treatment on Dick's show. You know how funny Dick thought Riley's crusade against Eric July in Texas was, and how much he was seething when Riley got arrested for it? Well, apparently, A-logging ceases to be funny for Dick when it hits a little too close to home, because one Pod Awful fan pulled up on Dick Masterson's LA mansion and gifted him his favorite animal, a cow. The funniest part about this, besides Dick mauling about it, is that he tried to blame Eric July. It's not that Dick doesn't know it was Jesse, it's that he doesn't want to give Jesse any attention or acknowledgement at all. Put from @Dick Masterson and Jesse in the Twitter search bar, and you get nothing. This Latinx has been on X since way back in 2009, but he's never mentioned Jesse's name once in 13 years. Apparently, internet trolling god Dick Masterson can't handle another internet troll. But Mikey, why won't Dick say Jesse's name? Well, let me put you on some game. Several years ago, Jesse had a Patreon. He had a tier in it called World War. Now, despite not even having any content in this tier yet, Patreon took his page down. Why? Well, because on a show he did back when he was on Maddox's network that was behind a paywall, he used the N-word once. Actually, it was because Jesse insulted Dick and called him a worm. Dax got super in his fee-fees about this and got his audience to go after both Maddox's sponsors.
So Don Chaco, who's on the phone, you heard the exchange. You heard the horrible exchange on Maddox's Madcast Media Network, supported by Maddox and Ruckalli. You questioned Maddox about it on Twitter. You said, hey, did someone maliciously drop the N-bomb against one of Dick's friends? And you said, I think that your sponsors would want to know what kind of shit they're supporting.
Was this on the podcast?
Or no. This was on his network, but it doesn't matter who said it. It was part of the network.
Oh, okay.
It's on the network. It's on his network.
And Jesse's Patreon. Jesse got even, though, because when Dick Masterson got his big break in show business, a Pizza Hut commercial, somehow, a clip of Dick saying the N-word was discovered.
When you're raped by a pack of
That commercial Dick was in never aired, and Dick's acting career has been stagnant ever since. And that's why Dick won't say Jesse's name. He can dish it out, but he can't take it. Man, Ethan Van Sciver really tied Comicsgate to some winners.
And that's pretty much it.
What the fuck is going on with that lizard? Is it de-evolving? Is that what's happening?
That's forget the name of that blue tongue thing. But yeah, I mean, to me, he ended it. But you know, we know the war between Dick and Maddox and the other stuff. As for the what's that team guy? Those guys who drop the N-word and just go crazy. You're like, dude, you're gonna get karma. The problem with people with freedom of speech is that you're gonna use freedom of speech. Then when the consequences happen, now all of a sudden, well, you know, he shared this and that. Dude, you created the opportunity for that. You know, there's a price for certain words.
Right.
There's a
Well,
price, man.
Yeah, I agree. And I think what people forget is that the freedom of speech protection is freedom from the government prosecuting speech.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that you're free from consequences, because there's still the court of public opinion.
Yeah.
There it is.
Then the other thing is, and people forget this, private businesses are not restricted in the same way that the government is when it comes to the Constitution.
But I mean, you know, I look at it like this. I remember I was walking one day, some people drove by, said whatever, but I'm like, man, you're free to say whatever you want. The thing is, be prepared for the consequence of you'll be ousted or, you know, kept away from things. You know, you want to live by certain behavior. It's kind of like how Andrew's walking his, let's say you're walking with your grandma and, you know, you get a footage of me just saying, you know, some malicious thing of, I hope something happens to her. I'm cursing her and this and that. And she gets startled and falls and hurts herself or something, or just gets very startled. Then the footage is out. You know, I enacted my freedom of speech, but now there's a consequence. Everything you do has a price.
Yep.
You know, and a lot of people online, like you saw these guys, you're gonna lose your sponsorship deal, whatever.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna look at certain things and you're gonna be like, dude, there's a price. And then the comfort when you know what comes with that. You know what I'm saying? I had, you know, we've all had friends here and there, some more than others, of different ethnics and all that. And you know, the way we move is different, man. There's a price for different things. But to me, a lot of people just don't want to admit they wanna get out of a free, what did you say, they want a free get out of public opinion.
Yeah.
Card.
They
That's what they want.
people think that the Constitution is there to protect their ability to do whatever they want without consequence. And that's not what the Constitution's there to protect you from. The Constitution protects you from government infringing on your rights. That's it. It doesn't protect you from the court of public opinion. It doesn't protect you from cancel culture. It doesn't protect you from your business saying something about it, because none of those entities are the government.
Like we actually have an example recently, you know, with Ruby King, you know, whose account got suspended because he said on X, you know, that like he would grape Matt Barr.
Right.
You know,
and I told Ruby, I said, look, I don't like it, but these are the rules, and
Twitter has rules.
These are the rules, and you have to tiptoe around those rules. I mean, you have to tiptoe around like what you say, and if you want to stay compliant. And the thing is, there's really not much that you can do about it, because again, Twitter is not the government. They don't have to respect your right to free speech, because that's not what the government, that's not what the Constitution was designed for.
Well, I mean, I look at it like this. My thing, is if you're threatening somebody, I don't look at it as speech. It's like if someone who's as YouTube is taking down, over 20 things with the so-called hate speech, when really it's an attack on the Constitution. Now, if I'm threatening people, that's gonna happen. Like there's somebody who posted a reply with some Call of Duty DLC, and I'm like, man, I can't reply to that, man. I can't even like it. I'm like, you were threatening somebody. Things can happen, and the honest truth is, Twitter, Elon, they don't know you, man. They don't know you're really gonna go to touch Matt Bar or whatever in an age where all know, what is it, pronouns and sexualities and all.
Uh-huh.
And my thing is, you got to be tactical, man. You got to be strategical. And, that's why when we all talk, I'm like, man, if you got 5 people talking to each other, someone's gonna reply with, "Nah, I think you could go out about it differently."
Yeah.
And in the privacy of your own home, you could be as obscene as you want, but if you walk into but if you walk into a Starbucks, you can't just go around shouting obscenities at everybody. Because Starbucks has rules. Like, this is not your house.
Yeah. It's
Man,
I mean, when you're on Twitter, Twitter sets the rules. When you're on YouTube, YouTube sets the rules. I don't always like the rules, but I have to obey those rules if I want to be on this platform.
Yep.
Period. End of story. Because the thing is, you always have the option to leave. You don't have to be here.
Yeah. There's always Rumble.
Oh, that's where I'm at now. But even then, I tell people this, man. The rules are this now. Until the Trump law and some other stuff. Because I hope he's got a constitution to protect the Constitution. Some organization or some stuff. But wherever you go, you're gonna eventually. Like I'm on Rumble, man. I've said some things about what's his name from Britain, who's a scam artist, a grifter.
I
He
have
was
no
on
idea.
saving Sarah Marshall. The British guy. He's whatever. I forget his name. Oh, Russell Brand. I've
Oh,
said
yeah.
some things about Russell Brand. I know if I say something about Russell Brand on Rumble, man, there's a chance you're gonna get kicked. Wherever you're gonna go, you know what I'm saying? You might offend people and they'll take you out, and then you gonna go somewhere else or make your own thing. But even if you make your own thing, if Google doesn't like what you're saying, all of a sudden they can't find you in the search results. I've been telling people this. The only place you're free to speak is in the real world, and it might have to be mafia and mob style where you meet up in the ocean. A guy told me how mobsters got away with a lot of things is they'd meet up in the ocean and the waves are going back and forth and they'd be talking there like, well, here's the plan for today in the ocean, or in the forest or something, man. With this internet stuff,
Where no one can hear them.
yeah, this internet stuff, man. It's you're unlimited. You're on borrowed time, man.
Yeah.
Even if you don't threaten people, you're just gonna offend one person they like. All of a sudden, you're gone.
Yeah. Plus, it also it doesn't make you a cooler person, to make these really stupid, grape jokes.
Yeah, I mean, I love Ruby to death. My goodness, but yeah, I mean, it's just you have to don't hate the game or don't hate the player, hate the game player. I mean, it's it's their playground. You got to follow their rules. And it is what it is.
What it is.
Well, like I said, with threats and my thing is you just gotta be careful. There's tactical ways of saying things. Like I was gonna respond to the Justin Bieber and Diddy thing, and then I thought about it. I'm like, nah, man. what I would say, yeah, self-control. Because another problem with Twitter especially Twitter and
Nobody has
sites where
self-control.
no, bro, it's instant. There's a lot of people don't think before they say or act, so
Mhm.
they'll just type their thoughts, then delete it, and somebody's already screenshot.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing that people need to understand. Once it's out there, it's out there. The internet's forever.
Yep.
And
man.
that's the other thing too. Like if you're going to be online, if you're going to become a public persona, do not have any expectation of privacy.
Nope.
Now you may want that. It may you probably should have that, but don't expect it.
No, the bigger you get, man, the more windows you have in your house, the more people can look into the house, man. It's just, and a lot of people get exposed that, it's like they want not to get out of jail, but the public opinion card, and they don't get it. But man, but guys, man, it's been an honor and a pleasure.
Yep.
Yeah, we're gonna have to wrap it. Yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up now, anyways, because yeah, it's almost 2 o'clock here. I don't have anything to do in the morning, but I'm just getting fucking sleepy. Like I can feel myself just wanting to drop. So, but my final thoughts on this, and gentlemen, you can give your final thoughts as well. Comicsgate is on its last leg. I think the grit. You know what? I'll say this. They were talking about them becoming lolcows. I'll sum it up like this. You come in as a grifter, you become a lolcow, and then like all cows, you eventually become processed beef.
Put the pasture.
Yep.
Man, last thing I'll say is this, man, and I'll say this in my honest opinion: CG ended in 2017. It's that a thing picks up, no conventions, nothing. That the first year tells you a lot. You only get one impression when you come in. This is ZVS millionaire. You work for DC. You work with Dynamite. You know the ins and outs. So for you, for the first year, it's about assembling a gang for drama. And I'm gonna tell you something. The danger of what happened with War Campaign. I'm gonna speak from being in the manosphere. In the manosphere, there was a couple guys that were telling men to send their photos so they could face rate them. They were charging men to face rate them. But here's the problem with this: you don't know if those are minors. And what happened with War Campaign is that you had men to join, you had to send photos of yourself and this and that. How were you certain they weren't minors?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's so many ways to dissect the problems with CG. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, some people try to censor and silence you, but in my honest opinion, CG the first year marked its end year because they were building for what's to come next. I'm building a gang, War Campaign. I'm doing this and that. Not
We're going to become the very thing that we fought against.
Yeah, it's what we wanted to become. No conventions, no sponsors. And think about this: 7 years. Name one CG crossover book where all the top CG guys crossed over.
Yeah.
None.
Yeah.
None. How can you have a live stream called CG Kings and none of you guys have a book where y'all crossed over?
Yeah.
Like a one book of. It is what it is, man.
Yeah. Yeah, like I think like this is pretty much like a message to everyone. Like to you, like you like aspiring comic creators. Comicsgate is not your gateway to fame or to get your audience. Like Comicsgate, in the grand scheme of things, is a very small community. Like if you're making like an anime style comic, like probably the best way to get your audience is probably like through webtoon or make your own web comic a website, Comicsgate is not the end all be all. To get your audience and sell your books. Like there are a bunch of other ways.
Yeah, I'll end it with this. Your gateway to greatness is to give me $1 million so I can show my penis on stream. So I'm fucking tired.
Jasker's been watching Magic Mike too many times.
Oh, guys, it's been a pleasure. Father Austin, it's been a minute. I'm glad to talk to you again, my friend.
Oh yeah, bro. No problem, man. It be the schedules, man. There's so much happening, man. People just think you disappear, and you're like, man, we got lives outside.
Yeah, I feel that. You get busy. It's been an exhausting week for me. I got so much I need to catch up on when it comes to streaming. It's just been an exhausting week, but
yeah.
But no, as always, Andrew, appreciate it. Father Hostage, appreciate it. Guys, here's hoping that whether it's in CG, the Rippaverse, or something new, that independent comics make a comeback and gets better. All right. Peace out, everybody. Much love. I'll see y'all later.
Word.